Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Yesterday was big. Today's even bigger. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We continue previewing every NFL division, Pearl, as, believe it or not, the rookies and veterans who are coming off of injury report for the Kansas City Chiefs in 6 days. Everyone reports on the 21st. So yesterday we did the NFC West. Today we're doing the AFC West and starting with the two-time defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs.
Well, I mean, you don't really preview the AFC West like other divisions, right? Because the Chiefs have won it 412 times in a row.
Feels like
so
it.
I can't remember the last time that anybody even challenged them. But the Chiefs, the question is obviously different. Will they be the first team to three-peat in the Super Bowl era? And I'll tell you right now, Maggie, they will not. And I'm going to base this on history.
Okay.
The Pittsburgh Steelers had a Hall of Famer at every position. Did they three-peat? No. The Dallas Cowboys had the most talented roster up and down by tenfold in the 90s. Did they three-peat? No. Did Bill Walsh three-peat? No. Did New England Patriots with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick three-peat? No. This Kansas City team is not better than all those teams. They're not more dominant than all those teams. Let's face it, they've snuck to 2 Super Bowl wins. They easily could have blown that game against the Eagles. They were down by 10 points at halftime with their quarterback limping. They barely win that game. They go to overtime with San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan basically loses it, and they win that game. How many bounces does this team have to have in a row? The odds of all that coming together 3 times seems impossible to me. I'm not even going to look at their roster or their schedule. Just so much has to go right to win a Super Bowl. What are the odds of it all happening again this year?
Okay, so it's going to be hard for me to say, no, Perloff, you're wrong. They're definitely going to three-peat when I said yesterday that the San Francisco 49ers, have scar tissue and you have to go to history. Mm-hmm. And it's very rare for a team who lost a Super Bowl to get back to a Super Bowl, let alone win it. And I can't use the history thing yesterday and then not use the history thing today and how difficult it is to three-peat. That'd be disingenuous. So I can't say slam dunk that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to repeat. But can I posit this to you? Mm-hmm. Even when the Patriots in the early part of the dynasty with Tom Brady, that wasn't Tom Brady as we know him today, the GOAT, the, greatest quarterback ever. You and I did a great quarterback debate. We had to take Brady out of it. We were just talking about second place because he so far and away has that title. Patrick Mahomes is the most talented quarterback. Mm. So does it change things at all that Terry Bradshaw was not the most talented quarterback? Troy Aikman wasn't the most talented
Terry
quarterback.
Bradshaw had more talent than anyone. He just was not the best quarterback.
Okay, but I'm just saying Patrick Mahomes is the best and the most talented.
I would disagree about Brady.
Of right now.
I would disagree a little bit about Brady. Brady was coming off the 3 Super Bowls, right?
Yes.
And then basically, they had he was not the full stats Tom Brady. He was on the brink of throwing 50 touchdowns. He was evolving into true massive Brady. It wasn't that long till he had the best season of any quarterback of all time in 2007. So Brady was pretty darn good. No, I'm not totally sitting here for that early Tom Brady slander. I know what you mean, though.
It was a defense-first team, and Brady...
But it was evolving into the offense team by the end of that 3 Super Bowl run.
Fair, but for the purposes of this argument, where we're talking about can the Chiefs three-peat, the one thing that is the wild card situation here is Mahomes is the most talented. He's not the best ever. Brady's the best ever.
Right.
But Mahomes is the most talented, and he's not going anywhere. And you're right. He won that Super Bowl against your Eagles on one leg. That's not a negative. That's a positive. Even if the guy is not fully healthy, he could still win you the Super Bowl. Dude had a high ankle sprain, won the AFC Championship, and then won the Super Bowl.
But the incredible irony is Patrick Mahomes is going the exact opposite direction of Tom Brady. Brady started out with very mild stats, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then you have to realize Patrick Mahomes' production is falling down. The team has completely changed since they started in 2019 winning Super Bowls. Now they're defense running team. Last year, I was looking at stats. Russell Wilson was statistically a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes last year. He has fallen.
That makes me think stats are irrelevant.
Well, obviously the Chiefs were not the explosive Chiefs last year. Everybody, and they know it. They tried to add all these fast receivers in the offseason. Yeah. They won 17-10 in the AFC title game. Basically, their whole offense was throwing to Kelsey. And then in the in the Super Bowl 25-22. It's not the high-octane Chiefs anymore. So I don't even know. Like, you got to look. This team is built to win narrow games right now. And the odds of them winning all those narrow games gets harder and harder.
It's a fair point. Listen, I can't sit up here and tell you I think that this is going to happen because the odds are so stacked against them that it will. Also, you can see what's going on. The trappings of the fame definitely are there. I don't know if it's going to matter, but the Rashee Rice thing is not good. He's going to be suspended for quite a long time for the drag racing incident in Texas. Travis Kelce is God knows where right now, being Mr. Taylor Swift. Even Brittany Mahomes now has like 4 ad campaigns in Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. I mean, they're all feeling themselves, and that's not a crime, right? They all should feel themselves. They're all part of this thing, and they become the new Dallas Cowboys, right? They are America's team. They are the big ticket. It's, we're living in a Chiefs world. Here's a question for you, though, about let's maybe go off of the three-peat for a second because we know how the odds are stacked against them. Do you think that the Chiefs are going to mirror the New England Patriots in this way, which is the Patriots dynasty won 3 and 4 years and then didn't win again for 10 years? So they got to 2 Super Bowls. They famously lost to the Giants.
They went 16-0 in that span. I mean, it's a little different, but
okay, I'm just saying
they were still the dominant team in the NFL in some ways.
No doubt, and they kept winning the AFC East, and they were a factor every year. But we're talking about rare air here, where we are. I heard this thing the other day. Someone said it, maybe on ESPN, I can't remember. It said the Chiefs season starts in the AFC Championship game. I mean, that's where and how high the bar is for them. So do you think there's a massive drought in between? Say they don't win it this year.
Yeah.
Not a crime. That would be totally in line with history. Do you think it's another 10 years before they win another one?
No, but you could have a little organizational dip because Chris Jones, say they don't win this year. Chris Jones is going to get old. He's basically their entire defense.
Just re-signed him to a lot of money.
Yeah, what is he, 30? He's 30, I think. So he's going to start to decline, and Travis Kelce's going to be gone. Right. So there will be changes, much like the Patriots had to redefine themselves. So the question is, can the Chiefs, in the Patrick Mahomes window, which is any time he's on the field, redefine themselves? Yeah, there'll be a redefinition. There'll be a rebuild. They'll probably be just like the Patriots, win 12 games. But I imagine there'll be a Super Bowl dip. Then they'll come back during the Mahomes. Mahomes is 28, so he probably has a 10 more year window
of prime.
Yeah, or 12 years where the Chiefs can win Super Bowls. Yes, I do think there'll be a post-Kelce dip, but then they'll redefine themselves. They'll find a new guy.
So not the decade long before you lift the Lombardi.
Decade. It was fluky that the Patriots went a decade. Let's be honest about that. That was very fluky.
Well, Eli Manning and the Giants.
Yeah, helmet catch was in there. They were pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think it'll be a decade long, but I do think when you say a decade drought for the Patriots, it wasn't really a drought.
Well, there was another part here where the rest of the division really didn't put up a great fight against the Patriots, and we're previewing the AFC West today. We're starting with the Chiefs, obviously, because it's their world, but is the rest of the division going to actually put up a fight here? Because a big part of Belichick and Brady's story and this complete dominance by the Patriots and their big dynasty was the fact that they were rarely challenged. A blip here from Pete's Jets, maybe a Miami season, but really not much. And they won the division 14 out of 15 years, I believe. I mean, they were guaranteed playoffs no matter what. And then you just take and home playoff games, and then you just take it from there. I think the rest of the AFC West is going to, at some point, present a lot more resistance than what the AFC East did for the Patriots in Brady's prime. Like, I have to think that even if it's just for a small amount in a small window, Jim Harbaugh has to become a foil to Andy Reid, at least for the next 3 or 4 years. I don't know how long Jim Harbaugh is going to last.
He kind of burns out fast in the NFL, but he lasted a long time in Michigan.
That's true. But in Michigan, he's the owner, the GM, and the head coach. Like, he's the king to the kingdom.
This conversation feels a little too down the road because, right? I mean, listen, there's nobody who, as according to Vegas, expected to make the playoffs in the AFC West this year. Everybody's underneath the playoff line. So they've won 8 straight. Like, he feels like right now it's a pretty easy division. Like, maybe in 3 years, but what are we really talking about here? I think this is, you're talking about, like, will Patrick Mahomes in 2028 win a Super Bowl? They're going for a 3-peat now, Maggie. You're getting way ahead of yourself. What happened to a game at a time?
Well, I can't because, again, I can't sit up here and make an honest argument to you and to our audience and say, yeah, I think they're three-peating. It would be unreal to do it. So I'm just wondering, is this...
Well, I mean, they're a heavy favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Well, of course they are, because of course Vegas would do that, and who else are they going to give it to?
Well, also do with every analyst. I mean, they're going to be the most popular. I mean, they're the huge favorite, obviously. Like, who else would it be?
Well, I think a lot of people are going to think the Niners. I think a lot of people believe that the Ravens probably just had a bad AFC championship game. I think there's people out there who are going to love the Texans. People who are going to love. Yeah. I mean,
Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
The Bengals, if they can be healthy.
But I mean, this is I think 70% of analysts will pick the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. So they are a unique favorite this year.
Yeah, but what do the analysts know? I mean, again, no, but you brought up history. Like, that's the whole thing.
So that's the thing. Like, when people are doing their preseason picks, are they going to think about this history? And they probably should.
Yeah, because this is a league that's, built on parity and is one of the great things that we love about the NFL. The idea that they would win 3 in a row in this era, when it's supposedly the hardest to do it, I think is just unrealistic. So if they do, fantastic. But I just think it's unrealistic. So for me to say they're going to three-peat, I can't. And that's your take as well. So I'm just asking, if they don't win it this year, when do they get back? Is this a 1-year dip and then they're just reload and they're back again in 2 years and we're back on the Chiefs train?
I'm really curious what happens with post-Kelsey. I mean, that's interesting because Tyreek Hill will be gone, and I think they're still going to be good. Because I think the key is really the Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes combo. So I don't think it's going to be a big dip. I think Mahomes is like the ultimate leader. Like he'll rise all. What's that expression?
Rising tide.
Yeah, he's going to make everyone around him better. He's going to keep the team super focused and confident. So I think that with Mahomes, there will not be a big dip. And the defense is so good right now. I don't know how long they keep this up. Because the defense gets expensive, too. Like, they lost L'Jarius Sneed this offseason.
But they draft well.
They do draft well, but recently, I mean, their defense wasn't good 5 years ago. Now it's really good. They might lose Spagnuolo to a head coaching job. A lot of different – that's a thing that happens to champions, too. They lose their coordinators. Happened to the Patriots, unfortunately.
I was going to say, unfortunately for the rest of the league.
Yeah, but I think the biggest retaining this year was Steve Spagnuolo dominated the Super Bowl and basically and the AFC title game and didn't get hired because he was probably missed a lot of the interviews because he was still coaching. So I don't think there's any big dip here. To answer your question, I think they're still way at the top. Is Reed being 64, that might be your issue. Because
is that old or is that young?
That's definitely old.
Is it? I got Belichick out here, 72, and I don't know if he's dating a 24-year-old, and I don't think he's. I think he's going to coach again.
66.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so we saw Belichick in real time lose his fastball.
I know, but don't you think he's going to get hired again? That's a conversation for another segment.
I don't think he's going to be good. I mean, I don't. He's going to get hired somewhere. I don't think everyone's going to all of a sudden pick that team for the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean,
how much longer do you think Andy Reid has? 4 years?
That's the question. Like, how much longer does he want to do this? Like, when he leaves, are they still going to be? Are they going to find somebody to replace him? I know you do not want Matt Nagy to take that job, but
well, I think he's taking it.
Well, if he's 4 more years, who knows where Matt Nagy is?
It's true. Yeah. I wonder if there was an idea that maybe Eric Bieniemy got wind that he was not going to be the successor, and that's why he took a lateral job and left, and is gone now from that job. So
yeah, I'm not sure Eric Bieniemy. It feels like Eric Bieniemy, something else is going on there because he didn't keep that commander's job. Anyway, I get big picture. Let's focus on this year. If the Chiefs are not going to three-peat, how good are they, Maggie, in your mind?
I mean, I think they're right there. I think they're going to eventually fall short. It's the amount of games, extra games that you're playing with all these deep postseason runs. Because it's not just the 2 Super Bowls they won. Let's not forget they lost in the AFC Championship game the year before that, and then they lost in the Super Bowl the year before that, and they won the Super Bowl the year before that. They've just played so many games. If you're talking about Mahomes and Kelsey specifically, and then Chris Jones too, it's just so many games. So, no, I don't think they're going to repeat. I'm curious what the audience thinks. 855-212-4227. Do you guys see a three-peat? I mean, you see where Perloff and I stand. I just also don't know if there's a dip like the Patriots. And again, what's the dip, right? You're right. They went 16-0.
If they could have the Patriots 10 years, like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it is. But when you're being judged on championships.
Yeah, no, I know.
It is a 10-year drought with the Patriots in between titles.
Which is very unusual, obviously, with the same quarterback. But, I mean, listen, we both believe in Mahomes. Take away Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. It'd be interesting to see, like, who's left. This year, by the way, Do we know the Rashee Rice penalty yet? We don't.
yet.
So that's a big deal, too, because he's their number one receiver by a mile right now. If he's out 8 games, maybe they get a slow start, don't get home field in the AFC. So there's a lot.
Didn't hurt last year.
Also, they don't really know. I'm not sure they've officially named a left tackle yet.
Could be a rookie.
Seems
for
like
the first time ever in Mahomes' career.
It could. That seems like a big deal. So there's a lot. You're right. Like there's so much that happens for a defending champion. The fact that Travis Kelce might be in Singapore right this moment, we have no idea.
Where is the tour? Does this tour ever end?
Oh my God, it's a great question.
She's like the Stones.
One thing we do know, she'll be there every game next year, right? Basically, she'll be all over the place.
Can they keep that? Sure. I mean, I don't know if there's maybe some kind of concert on the moon that she's got to attend to or something, but
yeah, by the way,
International Space Station.
I don't even think a 3P matters. Everybody in America is going to be tuning in to see her in the box. It's going to be so annoying.
I feel like the shine's off that already. 855-212-4227.
Maggie.
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 How naive am I? Okay, so we got 2 things going on today. Well, we got more than that. Our rundown, Pete, how did this even fit on one side of one sheet of paper?
I don't know how I did.
You're a genius. We have the AFC West to break down, and don't worry, we will get to the Raiders, we will get to the Chargers, and we will get to the Broncos because those 3 teams are all fascinating in their own way. We are also on day 2 of our sitcom bracket. Day 1, filled with controversy. Is Saved by the Bell a sitcom? People were very divided on that. That was the Seinfeld region. Today, we reveal the Simpsons region of the Maggie and Perloff sitcom bracket. So that comes your way in about 45 minutes. We also have Big 12 Media Days on tap. So college football coming back into view. We'll give you the latest on that next. You're welcome to weigh in on the Chiefs and their chances at a three-peat at 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff. So yesterday kicked off conference media days with the Big 12. I am going to say right now that's my favorite conference. I'm claiming it. It's got all my teams, Maggie. All the sort of mid-level. Do you realize that every backup quarterback in the league is going to come out of this year's Big 12?
What are you doing, Brett Yormark's talking points?
All the Case Keenums and Andy Daltons are coming right out of that conference. It's amazing. I was writing down some of the quarterbacks. I was like, oh, he's going to be a 9-year backup. Ooh, 8-year backup. And also, too, it's a really interesting, exciting, weird, all-new conference, except that what happened yesterday, and we'll get to it in a second, kind of felt like, oh, okay, you can have all the changes in the world of college football, but there's one coach who ain't changing. He is sticking to his guns, old school.
Yeah, I know. Mike Gundy does it again. Andrew Bogusch is here because he's got all the latest for us from Big 12 Media Days. You're right. I can't wait. Dion must be talking today because I have not seen a Dion quote. And
I don't even.
That's like oxygen for us.
I don't even. Dion's it doesn't feel like he's part of the Big 12, right? That's like a whole. He's his own conference. Like Shedeur doesn't fit into my. There's Colorado, but then there's give me Texas Tech. Well, I want to hear about Kansas State, Kansas. They're all good, but not great. I cannot wait for this conference. It's awesome.
16 team, just bonanza.
Yeah, it's everybody's here.
Yeah, it's a big conference. Bogusch, you're here. You do have the latest on Mike Gundy sticking his foot in his mouth yet again.
All the headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. Yes, Mike Gundy once told us he's a man. Maybe he's not. Oklahoma State's football coach, an all-time bad defensive running back, Ollie Gordon, who was arrested June 30th on suspicion of DUI. You'll be shocked to hear that Gordon, who was last season's conference offensive player of the year, will not miss any playing time because of the issue.
He's going to play, and I'm going to do what we think is best for Oklahoma State football, and I think it's best for Ollie to play. If there's any punishment, it's make him carry the ball 50 times in the first game.
Yes, as long as Oklahoma State football is okay.
Message sent. Lesson learned.
If only Gundy stopped there.
So I looked it up on my phone. What would be the legal limit? Like in Oklahoma is 0.08, and Ollie was 0.1. So I looked it up, and it was based on body weight. Not to get into the legal side of it, but I thought really 2 or 3 beers or 4. I'm not justifying what Ollie did. I'm telling you what decision I made. Well, I thought I've probably done that 1,000 times in my life. And I, it's just fine. So I got lucky. People get lucky.
And sometimes they get very unlucky when they or someone else drives drunk. So I don't even know where to begin with this. I will say, I'll be nice to Mike Gundy for a second. When I saw that Ollie Gordon was going still to Big 12 Media Days, I said, well, of course he is. But then Gundy did say, we brought him, so he had to answer the questions about this. I'll give them that. The rest of it was nonsense.
Yeah, it's the most ridiculous, water defense, whataboutism. I've done it 1,000 times, and you've probably done it, so that doesn't mean it's wrong or it.
No. I disagree with whataboutism at least has logic to it. This has no logic. Whataboutism, he could aspire to whataboutism.
Yeah, whataboutism.
He's like, I drive drunk all the time.
Yes.
Why can't he basically just said, I've driven drunk 1,000 times at least.
It's
so why are
in
we getting
glass
after
houses.
this kid?
It's is that really the takeaway here? Isn't the takeaway that none of us should be driving drunk? That's what you should aspire to do? And
no, he should at least do the people in glass houses throwing stones. He's throwing the stones at his own glass house. He's saying, yeah, I get hammered and drive all the time. I mean, I give him honesty points.
Well, do you get points for that?
No,
when
you don't get
sound
points,
like a jerk?
He doesn't even. It's the most ridiculous coaching statement. Coaches are supposed to be leader of men, and say to have your star running back get pull over DUI and say, he's only a 0.1. I've drinking a bunch of beers and got in a car 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Do the math. That's not good.
Yeah. Also, I don't know, Coach. I don't know if you're going to get to 1,002. I wouldn't be tempting fate like that. Would be the other thing, and it's just wrong. And then I did appreciate that Ollie Gordon was there. He seemed like more the adult than Mike Gundy. Because this kid who's 20 years old who made this terrible mistake, and thankfully nobody paid for it with their lives or got hurt. But he sounds like the more mature person. It was I realized I did something wrong. I don't think Mike Gundy realizes that driving buzzed or drunk or whatever is wrong. That was not clear with what he said. It's I do it all the time.
Yeah.
And I bet you do it too, so nobody should criticize Ollie Gordon. That's insane. And Ollie's up there being the real man about it and saying, I didn't want my teammates and my coaches to have to answer for me.
Yeah, how great would it have been if Mike Gundy said, hey, you know what? I looked into this. And only
it's less than you think.
Right. Be careful. We all do it. No big deal.
Yeah, and it's just the timing of it with the terrible accident that happened with the Vikings and the college players. And not only that, we're coming off of Georgia, had those horrible accidents with the drag racing and the drinking and driving. It's beyond tone deaf. Beyond.
I worry about Ollie Gordon, too, because I think they brought him out there. It's sort of the start of the Heisman campaign, and he's got to be top 2 or 3 in odds. I was reading the report. He got pulled over. He was speeding, and he had an empty bottle of tequila and vodka in the car. I just worry, you're a Heisman favorite. This points to future trouble to me.
Well, I don't know. Johnny Manziel wasn't exactly the choir boy, and he won the Heisman.
Yeah, and he was a stone cold addict and alcoholic.
No, I'm just saying, though, it didn't prevent him from winning that award.
Right, I'm saying, no, I'm not saying he's not going to win the Heisman. I just worry, is this Ollie Gordon? A lot of people have problems with alcohol.
Sure.
This is not a good sign. And he's not saying I'm going to stop drinking or anything like that. So I just
he's not even 21.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people get sober in their teens and 20s. This is, to me, now I'm keeping an eye on this kid who's awesome. He's completely lovable and he's a great player. But he's doing this mea culpa tour, and I'm sure he's going to get the media back on his side and probably win the Heisman. But then this whole situation makes me really nervous for him. You don't get in a car with empty vodka and tequila bottles, so you just don't do that.
Well, he's just a young person who made a terrible mistake and is lucky that he gets a second chance. And it's not a mistake that's going to follow, hopefully won't haunt him for the rest of his life. There is a positive spin on this where he realizes, oh my gosh, I screwed up so bad and I get a second chance and I'm going to be on the straight and narrow.
But it's good to point out those details because
I don't know.
Because I think we all have probably driven when we shouldn't have. So there is logic or whatever in Mike Gundy's statement, but I know that I've never driven 1,000 times or once with open liquor bottles in the car.
Yeah.
Don't even say oh, he had one too many beers and got in the car. He got in a car with open liquor bottles and drove around and was speeding. So it's not even as simple as Mike Gundy wants you to think it is.
Right.
It just feels, remember when Josh Gordon got in trouble? Josh Gordon was a former receiver of Cleveland Browns. He was the most talented player in the country. And I can't remember what the order was, but he had this one arrest, and he's like, this was a one-time mistake. That's a thing. it wasn't. So that's like what you got to watch here too. For the more important is like Ollie Gordon. Mike Gundy's an idiot. That's never going to change since he's been 40 and a man. There's nothing coming out of his mouth is going to make any sense. But I'm a little worried because I'm a huge Ollie Gordon fan. This is just a bummer.
So that's a very serious side of this story. Can I go to an unserious side of the story?
Please.
What are we doing with the hair here?
Oh,
with
my
Mike
God.
Gundy?
Just,
But it's fake, right?
I don't know.
Is that
what
real?
That is.
Because it's almost like so in your
It's
face.
huge.
It's growing.
Yeah.
He's got a proceeding hairline. Most men his age have a receding
But
hairline.
it's not even like now it looks like it's about to jump off of there and come get you.
I know. I feel like if that leaped off his head, someone would have to like go kill it with a baseball bat or something. It looks alive.
Well, I think it's a distraction from what he's saying is the hair.
It looks like he's like a Broadway show or something or Halloween. I don't know.
I feel like this is mean to rip him for this is a serious topic, but
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to the unserious part of
He's
this.
always been a character too.
I'm just really interested in this. I'm a little interested in men's hair, like what's going on with Tom Brady's hair and how it keeps getting fuller and darker and all that stuff. I mean, you have to be a genius to figure it out. But this Gundy thing, it's just, maybe I'm jealous. It's the height.
No, you're not jealous. He looks like Davy Crockett with like that raccoon thing on his head, that cap, and that's where we're going here because it is.
He's got to rub it in everyone's face a little bit.
There's a lot of height to that, a lot of volume.
You know what it takes? I'm a woman. Do you know what it takes to get that volume? You guys see me. I'm in the rollers back there. I've got all these serums and sprays. Like, that's not natural.
I said that to Perloff Wednesday when you're not here. I was like, man, it's hard enough to get out of the door at 4 o'clock, 3:30, and you got to come and you got to worry about your hair too. Like I can barely put a shirt on and brush my teeth.
I know. Thank God Allie's back there to help me with a little of the makeup. Like I got a professional back there to help. And here's the other part. They're in Vegas right now. It's 125 degrees. How is that hair
Dry
not
heat.
flat?
There's no humidity. It's dry heat.
Maybe you're right.
Yep.
What year do you guys think I'm a man and I'm 40 was?
Oh, gosh. They do the anniversary of that every year, don't
2005.
No. 19 years ago? Can't be.
I heard on a podcast it was 16 years ago.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that's true. Let's see.
That's like finding out Kenyon Martin's kid plays in the NBA or something. It's
I'm
like,
a man and I'm 40. That
or
was
like
like
Joey Porter's kids getting drafted. Like, oh God, we're old.
The kids
Yeah,
who are
he's
defending
56.
are probably grandfathers now.
He's 56, so that was 16 years ago. I'm a man and I'm 40. I felt like we did it. I feel like you did an update 3 weeks ago. What happened to that 16 years?
Well, he's the same guy.
Let me further the cleanse with the big dumper.
1-1 to Cal. Pitch swung on. Line drive. Left field. Got Terry. Bye-bye. Cal Raleigh with another home run. His second tonight. 2 more on the board for the Mariners. It's 7-0 Seattle.
That's Dave Sims on Mariners Radio.
Wow.
Cal Raleigh, a 2-run homer from each side of the plate in Seattle's 8-3 win in San Diego. The Giants scored twice, bottom 9, to drop the Blue Jays 4-3. The game-ending run came in on a wild pitch. The Pirates went deep 5 times in a 12-2 rout of the Brewers in Milwaukee. The Ranger win streak is 5 after a 5-4 final in Anaheim. And the Cubs rolled through Baltimore 9-2. Ian Happ, a 3-run homer for Chicago. Kevin Durant will not play tonight when Team USA loses to Canada in an Olympic tune-up in Vegas. KD's been dealing with that sore calf. Leo Messi, his 109th goal for Argentina in a 2-0 win over Canada in Jersey. They now await Uruguay or Colombia in Sunday's Copa America finale. The roof of the Houston Texans Stadium is missing at least 3 panels because of Hurricane Beryl. The venue suffered similar damage from Hurricane Ike back in September of 2008. That forced them to postpone one home game, but there is obviously plenty of time to address this before even the preseason begins next month.
Did you guys see some of the footage of this? Thinking about everybody in Houston, because not only are the terrible winds and then the flooding comes, then you've got no power and now it's a heat wave.
Yeah.
Just the worst, like, possible. And they said power might not be back on for a couple days with people. I always hope when the energy companies do this, they give you like the worst case scenario so that when the power comes back on,
what
like,
a good job.
Yes, right. I think they do this. I think airlines do this. It's like, we're going to be delayed an hour. Well, generally that means you're never leaving.
True.
And then it's like, oh, we took off in 15 minutes. Like, thank you, JetBlue.
And
like,
my guess is part of this problem is if the building's not usable, had it been usable, it might have been a place to go to sit inside. They might have opened it up, let you go in and whatever. But now with the roof wide open, it's not going to help anything.
man.
And again, I don't know what the weather reasons for it, but it seems like, again, a storm like slowed down over Houston and just like pummeled it longer than it needed to be done.
Man, feeling terrible for everyone there. That is just awful. Then the footage was terrible. Just trees upended. It's awful.
Last thing from me, the Minnesota Lynx down the Sparks 82-67. Their 7th straight win in L.A. Back to you guys.
Bogusch, thank you so much. We've got more on the Big 12, including who is feeling the most pressure heading into this season. A funny question from our chat, Perloff. You can always watch the show at youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork, where Kevin, our pal in San Antonio, says, Big 12 College Football Conference Media Day is going to be fun. Here's a question. What schools are in the conference? We will. The answer to that, Kevin, every school.
I would say the Big 12 is confusing. The ACC, that is the surprise some people come this fall. Like, whoa, they're in the ACC?
Stanford. All right, we will tell you who is feeling the most pressure in the Big 12. Might not be who you think. 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, Big 12 Media Days yesterday and today. So they're going on in Las Vegas, Perloff. We're probably going to get some solid Deion Sanders later today. Mike Gundy spoke yesterday. We already talked about that, sort of put his foot in his mouth about one of his star players being arrested for a DUI. But if you're talking about the conference this is going to be a fun year, I think, for the Big 12. I don't know how many great teams are in this conference, but it's certainly going to be a fun season. 16 teams, and you're adding the Four Corners teams this year with Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and who am I forgetting? Those three, because BYU was already there. Am I forgetting somebody? Oh, my gosh.
I would have done more research. You actually want me to name the teams in this conference? Maybe isn't that a bridge too far?
All right.
Yes.
But here's the question for you, right? Who is feeling the most pressure going into this season in the Big 12? Who do you have?
It's got to be Utah. So Utah is, I saw a stat since the Final Four started, they are the highest ranked team to actually not make the college football playoff. Now you go to 12 teams, like they have to make it. If they don't make it this way, because they've been basically the best team to never get over that hump. They have their quarterback Cam Rising coming back for a 7th season, bad knee injury last year.
Yeah.
7 seasons. I mean, he's basically a third-year NFL pro at this point. And they were been dominant. They haven't been dominant, but they've been the team in the Pac-12. Like, if they can win the Pac-12, they have to win the Big 12. It'd be a huge letdown. I saw a couple stories. CBSSports.com ranked them the 3rd most likely team in the entire country to make the playoff. They're in the best position behind Georgia and I think Alabama.
Whoa.
So, there are a lot of people. I think they're top 10. They're the strongest conference favorite probably out there because they, unlike Alabama and Georgia, like there's not another powerhouse. It's a good conference this year. Like there's a lot of returning talent, but I think Utah, like they have to win this right now. Or Kyle Whittingham, it's going to be very disappointed because they've been there. We've seen this team. I mean, Cam Rising beat Caleb Williams at USC. They've been at the brink. It has to happen now.
Interesting. It's funny though because Kyle Whittingham also named a successor about a week ago, which kind of added an interesting element to the story. Maybe he adds a little bit of an urgency. And by the way, I'm an idiot. Obviously, the 4th four-corner team is Colorado, the one that we've been talking about so much with Deion. So Utah, Colorado, Arizona
State.
State.
Colorado doesn't feel like they're part of this conference. They feel like their own conference.
Yeah, but Good morning, Maggie. So I'll take the slings and arrows.
Also, one thing, Utah, the schedule fell the right way. They avoid both Kansas teams, which is who you want to avoid this year. Like they have everything is on the table for them to make a run here. Like Utah, this is a team that has to finally make this expanded playoff.
Take what you will from the preseason media rankings, but yes, it was definitely Utah who was at the top of the preseason standings, but Kansas State wasn't that far behind. A lot of first place votes also for K-State. At least that's what the media thinks. For me, I actually think that the most pressure of anyone in the Big 12 has got to be Shedeur Sanders. And the reason why I say that, Perloff, is because I think Shedeur Sanders, Deion's son, the starting quarterback at Colorado, really does have a chance to be the number 1 overall pick. And I think that's very important to him. So if that's in your sight and you're going for something that big, you've really got to play outstanding. because I don't think Colorado's going to win a ton of games this year. So you're going to really have to stand out on a team that's not anywhere close to a given to be a bowl-eligible team or a college football playoff team.
Right.
And the reason why I think that Shedeur feels more pressure than Deion is because Deion Sanders is already a thing. He's never going to stop being a thing. Outside of like some insane scandal, I don't really think there's a lot. And Deion's gone through his fair share of scandals and got past them. I'm talking about anything new moving forward. Outside of that, I don't think anything really tarnishes the Deion Sanders legacy. Like, he's not an abject disaster at Colorado. They're not great. And he'll always be an inner circle Hall of Famer gold jacket. Like, he already has so much on his resume. I think Deion's a little Teflon when it comes to being a college football coach. And I think that after the first year at Colorado, when they were still in the Pac-12, and they were awful in conference play. They were bad. And I think the bar lowered significantly for Deion as a coach and maybe Colorado as a program. But Shedeur, the expectations are still sky high. Him, right. Travis Hunter, like, they're still sky high. And I think Shedeur is actually feeling the most pressure out of anyone in the Big 12.
I think there's a lot of good points there. I totally agree. Deion is like, it doesn't need to win a title right now. Somehow the expectation changed for him. But the one thing about Shedeur is that he definitely doesn't have to win to be the number one pick. Like, the NFL doesn't care at all.
No, I mean, like, Patrick Mahomes was not this, like, great winner in college.
Yeah, I mean, Drake May, that team wasn't good last year. Caleb Williams, that team wasn't good last year. That was 1-3. Jaden Daniels was pretty good, but they didn't, obviously if they were going on winning, then it would have been, Penix would have been the number one pick. It actually did go pretty high.
Stetson Bennett.
Yeah. So I think I do think the NFL does a funny thing where they will pick the tape they want. Like, Jordan Love was awful his last year at Utah State, and because his receivers all went away. So I think Shedeur, he could look bad, and I think the NFL will find a way to like him. That's my hunch on Shedeur.
But number one overall pick, which is I think what he wants.
I just think he's a strong favorite. I kind of believe in Shedeur. We had a guess. I can't remember who it was. Sorry about the NFL. Like, the key moment for Shedeur is no one knows quite how tall he is. You look at him, he's listed at like 6'3". Is he closer to 6'1"? So
it's a Bronny James
I
situation.
mean, it's a great year to be the number one overall pick because Carson Beck is not a surefire thing. Quinn Ewers is definitely not a surefire number one. I feel like he's a pretty strong favorite. I think as long as he like puts out 4 or 5 good games on tape, he's fine. If he has the same year as last year, I don't even think that's going to kill him because everyone knows that wasn't his fault. So that takes a little pressure off him.
Yeah, so he didn't throw picks last year. I think he only threw 3 interceptions. I mean, pretty clean, but took 52 sacks.
Yeah, but that line was awful. So he's got a lot of built-in excuses. And I know they kind of rebuilt the line, but if he takes more sacks this year, everyone's going to say, oh, you failed in rebuilding the line. We're good at making excuses for him.
Yeah, because I'm going to say, yes, offensive line being terrible is definitely a thing and why he took so many sacks, but it also does fall a lot on the quarterback at not to take all those sacks. You got to get rid of the ball. Like, you got to show that you're not going to put yourself in this crazy harm's way. And you also worry about, wear and tear and, getting hurt and all that stuff if you're just taking that much punishment. So we're talking about who's facing the most pressure in the Big 12. Their media days are going on right now in Las Vegas.
I think you can't underestimate the impact of the cycling of the coaching staff there, too. So they fired Sean Lewis, who was like Mr. Hot Guy the first part of the season in Colorado.
They demoted him.
Yeah, and so Pat Shermer, I think, is going to take the whole thing over now. I think some continuity there might help. I think it's hard. I think the NFL will look at Shedeur and say, like, you have all new players, all new coaches. Not all new coaches, but you have a lot of different things going on there. Don't you think that they're going to view him with a lot of, like, realizing that there's a lot going on in Colorado? Like, he doesn't have to be perfect. I think they can say, your O-line stinks. You have 8 new players on your offense every year because they're such a transfer-heavy team. So I understand. I definitely agree with you. There's more pressure on Shedeur than Deion. But I think even if he's bad, the NFL could fall in love with him.
So 855-212-4227, you're welcome to weigh in on Colorado and your expectations for Colorado. I know Andrew Kaplan, who's in our chat, obviously our social media whiz, does all of our graphics, AI songs. I mean, there's no limit to what Kaplan does for our show. Very proud Colorado Buffalo alum. Curious to know his expectations for them this year and if they've come down a little bit. Now, here's another part. We've talked in years past, would Trevor Lawrence not want to go to the Jets and try to get himself somewhere else? Would Caleb Williams, did he actually want to go to Chicago? And did he want to go somewhere else? And would he not play for the Bears and try to go to a team with more of a rich QB history. I think Shedeur and Dion are maybe not Shedeur, but Dion's kind of out there like, yeah, he's not going to play for a bum team, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the other part about Shedeur, which is if you're going to be the number one pick, get ready to go someplace that's probably going to be pretty awful.
Yeah, but you look at, like, what teams are we talking about? I think Dion saying that right now and kind of saying, kind of hinting, I'm going to give him the Cowboys or something. But if it's, say, Arizona, I mean, he's coaching Colorado. Like, what's a team that he would not go to?
Well, if it's the Panthers again, let's just say that Bryce Young is a disaster and they want to move on.
I feel like Dion could convince himself when this was like Carolina, like, somebody's going to say, hey, Sanders family, here are the keys to our franchise.
Oh, gosh.
Do you think that's going to, I mean, I don't know if they'd hire Dion, but.
Why would he want that job? That Carolina Panthers job might be one of the worst in sports.
Well, I mean, you're starting all over from scratch, basically. You have a whole team to build. That might be attractive to somebody who wants to start over. But my point is, if it gets to a bad team, then Shedeur and Dion are going to have a lot of control. And I think that's what's more important to them than actually being on a good team. I think they want to. They seem like a family who wants to dictate terms of Shedeur's future.
Oh, definitely. That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
It's like if he's going to be a number one overall pick, does he get to Archie Manning, Eli Manning this thing and decide where he wants to go? We've talked about it with other guys in the past, and I think they're not messing around. Now, the one thing about that, I maybe shame on me. I believe Dion when he says he doesn't want to go to the NFL. I really do. Oh gosh, if he went to the Cowboys for our industry, like I would love it. I would love the Dion to the Cowboys experiment. But I really, for some reason, I believe him when he says he does not want to go to the NFL.
I do. I think you're probably right, but never say never with Dion. The other thing, say it's Carolina. He took over a one-win Colorado. He took over the worst team in the country in college football. So maybe
it did make them respectable until we got to the Pac-12 play.
Right. So maybe a Carolina is attractive to Dion. He seems to really like the Southeast, Atlanta, Florida. I don't know. I feel like Dion can make this work. I know you're right. He is talking like this Archie Manning game, like he's going to dictate him. I see him. Yeah, I see like Carolina in their future. I think he's going to be like the face of a franchise of a team that has no face right now.
Interesting. 855-212-4227. You want to watch the show? We are on YouTube at youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/Infinity Sportsnet. We are also on X at Maggie and Pearl. You can go to our Twitter handle and you can just click on the live and you will get us. Of course, we say good morning to our Infinity Sports Network affiliates who we absolutely love. We're obsessed with you. Sirius XM channel 158. Pine Needles in the chat said Shedeur going to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Is there feel like as Stu Gatz would say, collision course?
Yeah, no,
situation?
It definitely 100% does. Because where are we sitting? July 10th, no contract for Dak Prescott. Now the question is Shedeur going to be a top 5 pick? What if he falls to 20 like Kenny Pickett? Then
that's why I think he has the most pressure of anyone in the Big 12 this year.
Pull out that Sanders jersey. Well, I mean, is there any if he's good enough to be the 20 pick, then things went well. That's fine, right? I mean, Shedeur, isn't that good?
No, I think he's gunning for number 1, at least
right.
top 5.
But he'd be thrilled. I think the family would be psyched if he was like the 20th pick. I mean, he's 23 years old. It's not Trevor Lawrence here.
I know, but in this day and age, quarterbacks can be 30 and they're getting drafted.
Well, I'm just saying, like, he's gunning for number 1, but if he's a first-round pick, that's a gigantic victory. I think that's great for the Sanders. If he's number 20, that's great. Like a first-round quarterback.
We're talking about him being number 1 overall. That
right, but
20 is a very different expectation.
But nobody's talking about him like he's Caleb Williams. They're talking about him like, oh, he could be good and he could rise to the top of a mediocre quarterback class. That is not, there's no Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, Caleb Williams. This is, he's in the mix.
Yeah.
He could be the number 1 pick. He could be the first pick in the second round. That's how I see.
See, I think
like
that
he's being talked about.
This is why he's got so much at stake. It could be the number 1 overall pick, or it also could be, I think top 10. I think outside of the top 10, maybe they wouldn't say it publicly, but I think outside of the top 10, they would probably be disappointed.
Maybe, but I think they'd be thrilled if it was Dallas at 18. That'd be great. In fact, they might even say, don't take me.
Oh, the little Bronny James action?
Yeah, they would probably say,
don't draft me?
I think he'd rather go if the number 8 pick was available to some team that Dion's not interested in. The 18 pick was Dallas. He would say, don't pick me. Let's let him fall. Don't you think?
I think the rest of the league would say, if we like you as a quarterback, we're taking you. Cowboys, Jerry Jones, can go kick rocks. 855-212-4227. Okay, you're welcome to weigh in on Shedeur Sanders. Is he feeling the most pressure, or is it Utah in the Big 12 because they have not gotten over the hump? Coming up next, we reveal the next region in the Maggie Perloff Sitcom Bracket.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Could be the most controversial thing we've ever done around here. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. The quest to find the greatest sitcom of all time is a challenge we are sprinting towards, quite frankly. We'll get back to the sports in just a moment, but we need to reveal, Perloff, the second region of the Maggie and Perloff Sitcom Bracket. 64 sitcoms chosen by me, Perloff, and our executive producer, EJ Stewart, who's laid up with a knee injury right now. Pete Bellotti has so incensed by this, he has actually started a rogue bracket that we'll get to another time. But this is what we are calling the Simpsons bracket, Perloff, and I know Simpsons was the top overall seed for you personally.
Oh, I mean, the Simpsons was such a huge part of my life. When it came along, I was like, oh my God, finally a show that's talking to me. I know it sounds silly as a cartoon, but it was like, so we're sort of my generation's the Beatles of TV. It was huge in the 90s, and it made Fox, like football and Simpsons.
Yeah, John Madden, Pat Summerall, and the
network.
Simpsons.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, so just the Milhouse character or more?
Everything. I saw a montage of McBain scenes the other day. There are 30 characters that I love on that show more than anything. You name any character. I mean, Ralph Wiggum, you could play any clip from any year of Ralph Wiggum and everybody's laughing. Simpsons, the most brilliant writers in the world, put this show together. For some reason, Fox lets them do whatever they want. Then the other thing, too, is they predict everything that's going to happen in the future, right?
So that's what interesting, and we're going to get to the sitcoms in just a moment because everything gets actually animated in South Korea. So apparently they have to send episodes like a month or so in advance, and they've been odd about predicting things.
And years in advance, like random little things, too. And some scary things, too. The end of the world is probably in The Simpsons a few too many times.
Oh, gosh.
And that's definitely happening. Anyway.
All right. So without further ado, let's reveal the Simpsons region. We did Seinfeld region yesterday. Simpsons region is today. So let's get to it. The Simpsons are the number one seed in this region. Homer tells Lisa why he's anti-strike.
Lousy teachers trying to palm off our kids on us.
But, Dad, by striking, they're trying to effect a change in management so that they can be happier and more productive.
Lisa, if you don't like your job, you don't strike. You just go in every day and do it really half-assed. That's the American way.
Simpsons goes up against the 16 seed Murphy Brown. Here's Murphy meets her new young EP, Miles.
How old are you?
25.
What's your background?
Master's degree from Harvard Business School.
Working background.
3 years in public television.
It's getting worse. I'm sorry, Mr. Silverberg, if it appears I'm being rude to you. It's just that I can't help thinking about the fact that while I was getting maced at the Democratic Convention in '68, you were wondering if you'd ever meet Adam West.
All right.
That sounded pretty bougie. It's like, that's the clip. Yeah.
That's the Simpsons versus Murphy Brown. That's the 1 versus the 16. We move on. The 8th seed in this region is the Big Bang Theory. Penny suggests Leonard is sleeping with Sheldon's colleague.
If you want to sleep with Sheldon's doctor buddy right after we stop seeing each other, go for it.
Well, no. Excuse me. I'm uncomfortable with you recommending that Leonard pursue having intercourse with Dr. Plimpton, who I assure you has better things to do.
I'm not recommending it. I'm saying it already happened.
Oh, that's preposterous. Tell her, Leonard.
Well...
Okay, the Big Bang Theory goes up against the 9th seed in this region, Scrubs. Here's Elliot upsets Turk over a joke about Jehovah's Witnesses because his mom is one.
Because I occasionally say something stupid doesn't mean I'm in the hospital going door to door annoying people like some crazed Jehovah's Witness. Oh, you're not?
No. My mother is.
He's black, too. You should tease him about that.
All right, the 5th seed in this region is the show Martin. Here's a clip. Pam gives a toast the night before Martin and Gina's wedding, which leads to insults by both.
May tomorrow be the happiest day of your life. And to Martin. Yeah. Try not to show up so she can enjoy it.
Oh, y'all go.
Clink, clink, baby.
Clink, clink. Well, I want to thank you too, Pam, for cutting your hibernation short. I know the Grizzlies like to sleep all year long.
There we go. That goes up against the 12th seed, Different World. Here's Whitley chooses Dwayne over Byron on their wedding day.
Sorry, Byron, I love her.
Die! Just die!
Let him go, man. Will you have me, Dwayne, as your lawfully wedded husband from this day forth to having a whole and richer for poorer? Baby, please, please.
I do! I'm sorry, Byron. No.
Okay. A lot going on there. The 4th seed in this region is we're doing the greatest sitcoms of all time. The 4th seed is The Jeffersons. Here's Wheezy and Florence questioning why George doesn't support his wife more, which annoys George.
Why is it everything I want to do is dumb?
Yeah, why is it?
And why is it you are always against me improving myself?
Yeah, why is it?
Why is it other people's husbands give them encouragement and you don't?
Yeah, why is it?
Look, one more why is it from you, and you're going to be wondering why is it you woke up in another zip code area.
And that goes up against the 13 seed WKRP in Cincinnati. Les doesn't realize his news update didn't air.
How'd you like it, Andy?
How'd I like what, Les?
My 4 o'clock news report. Didn't you listen?
Les, the transmitter blew up.
Of course. That was my lead.
Wait a minute. You led off your newscast by telling them that we were off the air?
No. But I can include that in my update.
All right. We continue on. By the way, you can vote. All of these are available on our Twitter feed, our X feed at Maggie and Pearl. So you can vote. Let's keep going. The 6th seed in this region is the Golden Girls. Sophia has to bail the girls out of jail.
Arrested for prostitution. I can't believe it. Sophia, we're innocent. I know that. I can't believe these dumb cops would think anyone would pay money to sleep with you.
That goes up against the 11th seed, Andy Griffith Show. Barney Fife tells Andy the importance of nipping it in the bud.
I say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud. First sign a youngster's going wrong, you got to nip it in the bud. Nip it. You go read any book you want on the subject of child discipline, and you'll find that every one of them is in favor of bud nipping.
Take care of it.
Only one way to take care of it.
Nip it.
In the bud.
Right.
The 3 seed in this region is the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Here, Mary gets the associate producer job.
The job is that of associate producer.
Associate?
Something wrong?
No, I like it.
The job pays $10 less a week than the secretarial job.
That'll be fine.
If you can get by on 15 less a week, we'll make you producer.
No, I think all I can afford is associate producer.
My, how things have not changed. That goes up against the 14-seeded Family Guy. Here is Peter Griffin doesn't get slang and thinks his son Chris is possessed by demons.
Nice job out there tonight, Chris. You wiped the floor with that towel.
Yo, did y'all check me when that hottie was all up in my Kool-Aid? Yeah, I was looking to break off a little something, but my crew gave me the 411 on that skank, and she's all about the blank blank.
Peter, what's wrong?
He's speaking in tongues, Lois. Our son is possessed. Meg, start at Psalm 41 and don't stop reading till I tell you. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you.
Peter, stop.
I see some upset potential here with Family Guy over Mary Tyler Moore Show. Just saying. Let's move on. We're almost done. 7-seeded Family Ties. Here's Mallory asks Alex Keaton how important sex is to men.
You're a guy.
Mallory, I'm not just a guy. I like to think of myself as a guy and a half. What's up?
Okay, I was wondering, how important is sex to a guy?
I'd say it has a certain importance.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10.
35.
All right, that goes up against the 10-seed Dick Van Dyke Show. Rob and Laura enjoy the luxury of a second honeymoon.
Oh, darling, this is so much fun. How come we never did this before?
Because we never could afford it before, that's why. But just stick with me, baby. We're going to make your parents eat their words.
What words were those?
Rob Petrie's a bum. He's never going to amount to anything.
Oh, when did they say that?
Last night.
All right. And finally, the second seed in this region, the Maggie and Perloff Sitcom Bracket, is The Office. Here is Dwight starting a real fire because no one paid attention to his fire safety training.
Last week I gave a fire safety talk, and nobody paid any attention. People learn in lots of different ways, but experience is the best teacher.
Fire! Oh, fire! Oh, my goodness. What's the procedure? What do we do, people?
The phones are dead.
Oh, how did that happen?
It's out in the hall.
No, we don't know that. The smoke could be coming through an air duct.
Oh, my God. Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay
Against the 15 seed, the show Blackish, where Dre wants a quote-unquote black name for his next child, upsetting other kids.
I want a strong black name.
Oh, boy.
Okay, because we've given our kids white names, and they've all ended up blackish.
Dre.
I just want at least one of my kids to end up being black so I can love it.
We were just coming downstairs to see if there was any cake left.
But I guess we'll just eat our sadness instead.
All right, so there you go. That is the Simpsons region, the Maggie and Perloff Sitcom Bracket. You can go vote on X at Maggie and Pearl. And I see some major upset potential in this region.
Oh, yeah,
Perloff.
Family Guy is going to kill Mary Tyler Moore.
I think so as well.
The one that I have a problem with, and we've talked about it, we debated it, Big Bang at number 8. Big Bang feels like a 2. It's like one of the most successful shows. Maybe 2's a little high. Won tons of Emmys. In an era where sitcoms don't play, it's dominated the ratings, dominates syndication. Feels a little low. I mean, I might not win at all. Scrubs is an awesome show to go against.
That's a crazy 8-9 matchup.
Yeah, I feel like Big Bang, because Jim Parsons, it was awesome. Even that clip we played, he's so darn funny. And he was around my old job at Dan Patrick Show all the time. Unbelievably nice guy. That show was, I know, was popcorn and light. And it's pretty funny. I've gone back and seen, I think a lot of people don't, in our crew might not know it, but it is a little funnier than I think you guys might think.
So I was never a Big Bang watcher, although I can appreciate Jim Parsons. I know he's such a huge fan of the DP show, so clearly he's got good taste. But this is my thing about it. I don't think that humor was kind of niche, just like the nerdy. They just played the nerdy versus the nerds versus the non-nerds over and over again, right? Wasn't that basically it?
No, not exactly, because it was all nerds by the end.
Oh,
but
okay.
They developed all these plots, they became real characters with relationships, and it's like a wildly talented cast. Jim Parsons, Kelly Cuoco is awesome.
Yeah.
So, no, it became like a sitcom in the sense that, you started to invest in, the boyfriend-girlfriend stuff. It wasn't just you beat up the nerds. And you said it's niche. It's not niche. It's as broad. This is broad as you get. This is pure Chuck Lorre stuff.
I was surprised. Now, the other sleeper in this bracket is Martin. Martin is hilarious. I mean, I know Martin Lawrence now is in Bad Boys 5 or whatever is out right now with Will Smith, and maybe he's not looking that great. But in terms of cultural significance, Martin was so big. And he was such a huge comic. And then Golden Girls, I think, is a show that has gotten a second life with a younger generation. I think we're finding the Golden Girls, maybe ironically to start, but then maybe figuring out this was actually a good show. So you got heavyweights here with Simpsons, The Office, you have Big Bang, Scrubs, Martin, Golden Girls. It's a lot of really Family Guy. It's a lot of really heavy hitters.
I feel like this is The Simpsons versus The Office. And maybe Family Guy.
I think Family Guy's going to make a big run here.
I think Simpsons and Office are both the heavyweights. Simpsons usually is number one on everybody's list if you include it as a sitcom. That was the interesting debate about Simpsons. Is a cartoon a sitcom? We are counting it as that.
Yes.
EJ tried to make a case that Simpsons was not a sitcom. I get it, but that's pretty good. But The Office, I have more friends who love The Office than probably any show.
I think it's probably the greatest sitcom since the 2000s, right?
Most pop. Yeah, probably. What is it? The highest seeded post 2000 show? Friends was 90s, right? Did Friends get into the 2000s?
It probably did, but I think we think of Friends as more of a 90s show.
Okay.
To me, Friends is more of a pre-9/11
Any
show.
other low seeds that are interesting here?
Yeah.
See, the Dick Van Dyke Show, that's not going to do anything.
I don't think so, going up against Family Ties.
WKRP. That is a cult favorite.
I had never heard of the show. I don't know how I missed it. I watched plenty of old TV, the Nick at Night and stuff like that. I never saw the show. I never heard of the show.
WKRP, it's about, I don't have it in front of me. I think it's 78 to 83 or something. It had a lot of big actors and heavyweight. Lonnie Anderson was like, you know Lonnie Anderson, Burt Reynolds. She was a big deal.
Howard Hessman,
who is you've seen him was in Clue, which I know is one of your favorite
Head of
movies.
the class.
Venus Flytrap was a character. It was silly. There's one episode that even the young people know that goes around on Thanksgiving. They were throwing turkeys out of a helicopter on Thanksgiving as a big Twitter meme.
As a promotion.
Yeah. And they were basically, as a radio person, Maggie, I think you might appreciate some of the challenges they had. Getting your voice out into the air was a challenge back in 1979. So it's a really, really funny show.
Brian is in our chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, where he says, I feel like the winner might come out of this region. And I think he's on to something here. He said, Family Guy and Martin are going to make a good run. My Cinderella pick is going to be Blackish as the 15 seed. I don't think Blackish is going to beat The Office, though. The Office is such a powerhouse. Blackish is a great show. Very funny. But it drew a tough seed here with The Office.
Yeah, and then there were all the spinoffs, right, of Blackish, all the other ish shows.
Yeah.
Kenya Barris, who's creator of Blackish, has this side show he did on Netflix. It was a spinoff. It's I can say this. It was called Black AF. It's a one-season Netflix comedy, which I think was the anti-Blackish. It was like a profane. It's about his life and what happened to him when he became super famous for Blackish. It is the funniest season because I think he felt one thing about these shows, when you're on ABC, CBS, or NBC, like you're restrained about what you can do.
Of course.
Like you can't let it run like HBO. Like I think some of our favorite shows, like Veep, for example, which we'll get to, you can curse all you want. You can do any kind of sex joke. I think we should give credit to the network shows because it's a lot tougher to be funny when you have to be PG.
Well, that, and I think you have a lot of executives sort of in your creative process. Wade Watkins in the chat says, I know this just started yesterday, meaning the Sitcom Bracket, but there better be at least one show with Ed O'Neill on here.
Oh, there is.
There is. There are.
There's two.
There are, yes.
There has to be.
By the way, does he have a third show? There's only two shows that he said.
There has to be, or there should be no bracket.
He's definitely well represented in the bracket. We would never forget about Ed O'Neill.
Right. He's only got two shows, right? I mean,
two major shows. Yeah, I don't know anything else. He was in Little Giants, but that's what I.
Yeah, he's playing Donald Sterling in that new show on FX called Clipped.
Oh, have you watched any more of that?
I kind of lost track of that.
I don't think that one's not a sitcom and will not be making it into any brackets. Ed O'Neill also amazing cameo in the movie Wayne's World.
And I hate to say this about Ed O'Neill. I don't want to make anyone mad, but he's a little bit like, I see him, I'm like, there's Ed O'Neill. Like we know him as the characters he plays on TV.
Al Bundy?
Yeah, he's Al Bundy. Like, can he ever be anyone but Al Bundy?
He was really good at Modern Family. So those are the two. They will get in this bracket. 855-212-4227. This is the Simpsons region. So, okay, a couple of things for you to chew on here. Number one, do you consider animated shows sitcoms? Because we've got two big ones in this bracket alone. The Simpsons is the 1 seed and Family Guy is a 14 seed. I think Family Guy is probably way underseeded, to be honest. And then Big Bang Theory. Perloff says underrated. I don't know about that. 855-212-4227. Okay, so much more to do. You're welcome to weigh in on all of that. We also, speaking of TV, Arch Manning on our TVs. Didn't see that coming. New commercial that he's got. What was he promoting? And can the backup quarterback at Texas have a commercial? Doesn't this mean he's probably a little too famous to be a backup? We'll get to all that next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
Sitting in my room, scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Delta 9 Brian. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1 fan. Got his fingers moving, stepping non-stop, dropping all the knowledge, never gonna flop. Delta 9 Brian, he's the king of the chat. With his love for the show, there ain't no doubt. Every episode, he's always in the mix, leaving comments for the host, he's got the tricks. Delta 9 Brian, he's a YouTube star. With his quick wit comments, he'll take it far. Okay, been sitting in my room, scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie and Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Delta 9 Brian. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1 fan. Every episode, he's always in the mix.
One minute remaining.
Fire comments,
45 seconds remaining.
Bogusch, lost in the fog of golf. Bogusch can't see his way. People hide his voice in his ears. Every day, Tom Brady's glory.
30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Give us a call, 855-212-4227. Best sitcom of all time bracket is heating up. Let's go over the matchups again. Some of them make me mad. Number 1, Simpsons versus number 16, Murphy Brown. Maggie, you were asking me, have I ever seen Murphy Brown? It's one of those shows I'm like, yeah, I've seen like 4 episodes. I don't know where or when. 8, 9, this is ridiculous. Big Bang Theory Scrubs. Big Bang Theory should be way higher than 8. 5, Martin versus Different World. Jeffersons versus WKRP. Golden Girls, Andy Griffith. Mary Tyler Moore versus Family Guy. That is so unfair to Mary Tyler Moore. Why are we putting up against Family Guy, Maggie?
Just saying that.
I mean, Family Guy at a 14 seed. There are so many heavy hitters in this part of the bracket. It's crazy.
Then number 7, Family Ties versus Dick Van Dyke. Number 2, Office versus Blackish. It's interesting. I think a lot of this has to do with like when you were watching TV. Because as a teenager, I watch a lot more TV.
Are you sure? You watch quite a bit now.
No, now that's actually kind of say I'm pretty consistent. I've watched TV my whole life. Now I watch documentaries. Like I do not watch. There's no series I really watch. It's there like I don't watch Ghosts. You know what Ghost is?
Yeah, obviously I know Ghost. They advertise during the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. I don't. All the shows that are advertised during the NFL, I don't know what those are really. But I do watch a lot of TV. You are right.
You watch the first episode of every show ever made.
Yeah. Oh, I'm totally. Basically, last night I was flipping around. It's 9 o'clock. My daughter goes to bed. What do you guys do? Don't you come down and turn on the TV and watch sports or see what's streaming?
You know what I did last night? I started watching the Giants in-season Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know what is going on with this show. If they're all like, first of all, are we seeing anything close to the truth? Or is this all basically these staged meetings and staged, things because they don't want anyone to know and give away any like company secrets about which way they're going to try to build their team?
It's funny, the way they edit it, it makes it sound like they're presenting the information as if it's a TV show. They're like, well, Drake May is a big winner in North Carolina. They give like a little thumbnail of who he is, like an ESPN show. It's not like there's no behind the scenes in some of the scenes. Some of them are more behind the scenes. Some of them feel like they're just sort of presenting a TV show.
Well, also, I mean, if you ever had a thought on what it actually might be to work in an NFL front office, it looks like the most boring job of all time. Everyone in these meetings looks like they're about to fall asleep. It looks like you're meeting at your job, like just a regular meeting, no passion. I don't see any heavy debate on guys. Like, it's not the stuff you think of, and it just seems really boring.
That's funny. I watch it. I think that looks like the greatest job in the world.
You don't think their meetings
Oh my
boring?
God! Yeah, but you're not like sitting talking about like the QPS report. You're talking about let's talk about Drake May throwing the ball down the field. That's like interesting content.
Well, debating players,
but they do it in the most but like least interesting way possible.
The best part is
also there was a lie in the first episode.
What was?
Joe Shane is the general manager of the Giants, and they do the classic driving to work shot.
Oh, yeah.
And he's eating all the peanut butter and jellies, which I can get behind because I'm a massive PB&J person. When he says, I have no idea what station is Sports Talk Radio in New York City, that's a lie.
Yeah, we did that on Wednesday. Like there's no way that's true.
Bold-faced lie. Bold-faced lie. Don't lie to us, Joe.
But we liked it. We liked it the first episode.
Oh, man.
I do think sitting around at the combine, that looks like fun. They all the top guys are sitting there eating food in this nice stadium in
just
Indianapolis.
Like making quips about
yeah,
dudes.
yeah. They're like, did you see that 40? Nobody seems to be doing any actual work at the combine, which is interesting to me.
Like, wow, that what was the guy who the Chiefs got?
Xavier Worthy.
That Xavier Worthy, man, he really runs fast.
I also watching that because I know there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I could definitely be an NFL scout because they were like, the line that got a lot of trouble, Joe Shane. In the first episode, they're talking about Josh Jacobs on the free agent market, and somebody's throwing out some analytics, at least some analytics, and he goes, hey, did that guy lead the league in rushing 2 years ago? And everyone's like, wait, that's what you know about Josh Jacobs? Didn't he lead the league in rushing? I definitely think I could be a GM, Maggie.
Okay.
Because they are very shallow.
So regular Hard Knocks, training camp Hard Knocks makes you realize, I can't be a football player. If I thought I could be a football player, I definitely can't be a football player because I can't do all this physical stuff. Off-season Hard Knocks makes it seem like any idiot could do it. And sorry to the Giants, but they don't exactly have this great track record where it's like, oh, wow, I'm watching the genius brain trust here.
Okay, so now we can't go to MetLife Stadium.
I'm just saying. It's the record. It's the record.
Wow.
And how they're presenting it. It does seem kind of like it is very surface, very base. There has to be more intricate stuff going on behind the scenes. There has to be.
Absolutely. The one thing, too, they're very obviously, last night's episode was at the Combine. They're very obviously drafting Malik Neighbors. They know it the day they walk in. Brian Dable's like, I just watched 18 hours of tape on our guy. I can't wait to get him. Then they're like, I don't know. Who are we going to draft? So something is off on this whole show. Like they're presenting this idea that, we don't know what we're going to do. Felt like they were honed in on Malik Neighbors very early.
Well, the other part is we're talking about Giants off-season Hard Knocks, which is, as I said, a very boring show that clearly I'm getting a lot from. But the other part is there's clearly concern about Daniel Jones. So this is like real life now, right?
Yeah, but that
obviously he's coming off of an ACL injury. He's had 3 pretty big injuries, at least 2 big injuries over the last 3 years. Bogusch, you're a big Giants fan. I mean, he's got the back injury, which is no joke, the spine injury, and then he's got the knee injury, and had bumps and bruises before because he's a running quarterback and is behind a bad offensive line and all that stuff. They're sitting there at 6. 6 quarterbacks went in the first round of this draft. I didn't think it was a mistake that the Giants didn't take a quarterback this year. Now watching the show, I'm like, it was a huge mistake that they didn't take a quarterback. They should have over Malik Neighbors. Guys, Malik Neighbors is great. Wide receiver in the first round for what? This is not the first year in a row they've done that, by the way. You have a quarterback problem.
Wait, but they were not getting Caleb Williams, so that's out of the picture, right?
Yes. No.
So they're probably not getting Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
I'm not sure they were going to. So you're going to replace Daniel Jones from Duke with Drake May from North Carolina?
I don't think they were getting Drake May.
You're not a basketball team, you're Maggie. So, I mean, that's the only possible trade-up they were going to do would have been for Drake May. They definitely shouldn't have taken McCarthy. That would not have fit where they are.
Well, there was rumors that they actually liked
I don't think that would have been the move for them. So I think if they were going to take quarterback, it should have been Penix. But I don't know. I don't think they loved anyone at 6.
Bogusch, after watching this, are you now upset your team didn't take a quarterback? They clearly don't believe in Jones.
So I was already bothered by it, but I think what Perloff just said is reality, is that it didn't fall the way they needed to fall. And I believe we were told that they tried to get to 3.
You see it in the second episode. He goes over to the Patriots, and they're like, "Hey, call us before you make the pick." But I think the Patriots were always making that pick,
right? So, which means you can only do so much. And I would not have. JJ McCarthy is Daniel Jones in my mind.
Okay. Yes. So, what about Penix?
I like Michael Penix too, but I don't think he's the 6th pick in the draft. Could they have gone backwards and still taken him? Maybe, but I don't mind Malik Neighbors. I don't mind not reaching for a quarterback or picking the wrong one, but you are right that they need somebody other than Daniel Jones for that position.
But Drew Lock now behind him, who's probably going to start 8 games.
One thing about Penix was never talked about to the Giants. That never came up.
Never.
Not that we really know, but that doesn't seem like it was a possibility.
Remember they brought Russell Wilson in.
Yeah. But one thing, Daniel Jones comes off the books next year, and we argued about this yesterday, that there's a lot of value in that. Like, they can start over a quarterback.
Okay, so not according to Joe Shane in this show. Did you see the part where they're talking about, he's talking to the owner, John Mara, and he's saying, or I think he was talking to John Mara, it might have been someone else, and he goes, we've got Jones for 3 more years. That's how he said it. And I'm like, do you though? I thought you guys were getting out of this contract after a year.
They're definitely getting out of this contract.
He said we have all this money committed to Daniel Jones and we're committed to Jones. I didn't realize also he's taking up 20% of the salary cap. Why did they structure the contract that way? That's so much.
$40 million.
For Daniel Jones, though, it's not much if it's Josh Allen or if it's Justin Herbert. It's a lot if it's Daniel Jones, who does not throw a lot of touchdowns.
Anyway. Listen, I'm well aware when he signed that deal, I think a lot of people are like, what?
So there you go.
But I do think that if you're a Giants fan, you might be excited. Like, I don't think they're bad enough to tank, but there's a possibility. Like, hey, you're probably going to get a new core. If you don't like Daniel Jones, then that's good because you're going to get someone new next year.
Maybe Shedeur Sanders to the Giants.
Dak Prescott.
Nah, I don't see Shedeur.
You want Dak?
I don't want Dak, but I mean Dak is better than Daniel Jones.
He definitely is. So you got that going for you?
Because I don't think I don't think they're bad enough to be in the conversation for a top 2 or 3 pick.
Yeah, but you could get last year quarterbacks went down to number 12.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go from Daniel Jones to J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm saying this, but that would not excite anybody. No, it's like the Spider-Man meme.
That's why they're not there.
Yes. Because you already have Daniel Jones. Yeah. What the heck do you need J.J. McCarthy for?
But that was a totally different regime that made that Daniel Jones pick. Everyone knew it was a reach at the time. I don't know. It didn't become so clear and obvious. Like, geez, they really need a quarterback. It doesn't feel like they believe in Daniel Jones, even though they just gave him all this money.
Well, they have $40 million contributed. Like, they might as well keep him. They're paying him $40 million a year. Why not just play him next year? Let him.
Then you must feel pretty good about your job situation if you're like, well, let's just let him play after you gave him a bad contract.
Well, what options do you have? I mean, you have to. He's taking up 20% of your cap. You have to play him.
No, I get it, but you're the one who gave him the bad deal. Unless the owner came in and big-timed everybody and did it anyway.
Yeah, but that mistake's already been made. Daniel Jones is good, and Bogusch, you'll agree, when he runs, if he's going to run for 90 yards in a game, that's pretty good, except he'll get hurt, right? So if it's his last year, let him run for it, man. Go. Just wear him down.
Right, and enjoy Drew Lock from November on.
You give me 5 games of running Daniel Jones. 5, can I get 7 out of you, baby?
We'll see. Bogusch says headlines. Hi.
If I was to create my version of Pete's Mad Board, this might be on it.
And what a goal that was! Lamine Yamal! You're looking at the young ever scorer at the Euros. It has happened.
That was from Fox yesterday. It was 16-year-old Lamine Yamal scoring a beautiful goal in Spain's 2-1 win over France in their Euro 2024 semifinal. And as you heard, he is the youngest to score in the event's history. Again, he's 16.
Wow.
He's still wearing braces. He's doing schoolwork in between games. I wasn't good at high school basketball, age appropriate at 16. This kid's playing for one of the best countries in soccer's one of its most significant events.
So this is going to be, I'm not a big soccer person, but obviously this is the kid who is going to be challenging Messi and Ronaldo as the greatest of all time. This is how he's got to be trending, right?
And there's still guys like Kylian Mbappe for France who are not old at all,
right?
And are in that conversation. Like, he's supposed to be next, and now this dude at 16, plays the full game against men, survives physically, led at one point, had the most assists in the tournament, and this goal yesterday, they're losing, and he makes this beautiful shot, bends it around the goalie in the top corner, and he's 16. And he looks like when he gets on camera, he looks like a 6-year-old kid playing against mean European men.
I think wearing braces is a statement. That's the line. If you're still wearing braces, you're a kid. If you have to take your retainer out at night, you're a kid.
Well, and when I'm watching, I keep thinking of child actors. They can only be on set for 3 hours a day, and I'm like, does he have to leave practice at some point? Does he have to just stop playing soccer because he's a baby and rest?
He hits a max limit.
Yeah,
is he part of the union?
Off the field. He's got to get off the field. He's got to go back in the AC and rest and have some orange slices.
Okay, you're right. He does look very young. He's got that haircut that every boy has right now, and at least in this country, and then also in Spain. He looks very young.
Oh my gosh.
The mop top hair.
Yeah.
And he does have braces. You're right.
And he's not So this is all petty jealousy, by the way. I'm not actually mad at him. Pete would be mad at him, I think.
Well, you could share my board. You can put a little note on the board.
Thank you.
Bogusch's mad board. Bogusch is just tired. We can tell.
There's also that.
Right.
But it's just,
you don't seem it.
It's so
Doobie Brothers last night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're still around. It's so incomprehensible to be that good playing with adults at 16. And everybody else, I saw a video this morning, Messi and Ronaldo were 19 when they debuted on their national teams and didn't do anything. He's 16 and he starts and is a key reason why they're in the final of this huge event.
I mean, is there a burnout factor that people might be worried about here? This happens sometimes with tennis players, especially on the women's side. A Jennifer Capriati will win a tournament at 16 and then obviously she had issues. But, is there a little worried that he's peaking too soon? Is that even possible?
I don't know.
Am I looking at this the wrong way?
It feels like soccer, your window's really kind of short, though. Because Bobby's, 24, and he's already an old man.
Right.
I mean, what's the peak age? 18 to... You have to hit it young in soccer.
Not this young.
Okay, right. But
usually you guys
by
start...
18, 19, you better be good.
Yeah, but I just said, Messi was 19 as a sub for Argentina in the World Cup.
What was Mbappe, though? He was 19?
Yeah, that's probably right because he's been in 2 World Cups now for them. And he's 20, mid-20s. But I mean, you've got from 20 to 28 is when you need to be truly elite. And this guy's already ridiculous at 16.
Okay, can I ask a question? So I admit I'm doing some really quick catch-up research here on this kid. Why does it keep coming up that he was baptized by Messi? Is this a true story or is this a figure of speech?
I don't know about baptism as a Catholic ceremony, but there is a picture of, and I don't know the connection, but there's a picture of a younger Messi and him in a baby pool. I don't know if the parents know. I don't know how that works, but that picture's real. And I don't think Messi was welcoming him into the faith.
Oh, this is what it was. According to one report, as a baby, Yamal, the kid who's 16, Lamine Yamal, is seated in a bathtub. As he smiles, he's being bathed by his mother and Messi. The photo is from a calendar shoot, but now it's come to be interpreted by the Spanish media that it was a baptism ritual. This is all it is. It's did Messi bathe Lamine Yamal?
So it's just coincidence, not a high religious event, but possibly it was.
Let me try to get the picture.
Amen.
Oh yeah, look at here. He said, "Can you do a baptism in a plastic tub?" Forgive me, I'm out of my depth here.
You could do it wherever you want, theoretically. The real key is Messi's power to baptize a baby into soccer stardom.
Clearly, he's godlike.
I can buy that.
Yeah, he's a religious figure, I'm sure, for
yeah.
most of the world. So this is 2007. What is this photo shoot possibly for? Cute kid.
I mean,
but why is Messi?
And why, yeah, like what month is this? It's like, hey, everyone, it's March.
But that works out pretty good. That photo is that's gonna be better than Jason Tatum and Martin Kachuk.
Matthew Kachuk.
On the school bus?
Yeah, on the school bus. Like certain photos are gonna last forever. When this is the greatest player, I mean, geez, Louise, somebody scouted that kid young to have this photo taken. They're like in the crib. Did you see the way he kicked that ball around?
Put him in the tub. Get me Messi.
Yeah.
He would kick the mobile over his bed.
Yeah, he did a
like
bicycle kick of the
here.
mobile in his bed.
Like,
Get Messi.
And a
we
photographer.
found him. It's
And
like Harry Potter.
And a basket of suds.
The one that was promised.
Wow. All right. So, yeah, you got this photo.
Speaking of Messi, he scored.
Messi also looks like Trevor Lawrence in this photo, but go ahead.
He scored last night. Argentina beat Canada 2-0 in New Jersey to reach the Copa America final. That's on Sunday in Miami.
At the Copa.
Against either Uruguay.
That's Bilatti's Copa. Who sang that song? Tom Jones or something?
No, that was
Copacabana.
That was
Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow. Sorry, Tom Jones, Barry Manilow. I'm not that far off.
Same thing.
That one's too new for Pete to know.
Pete might have been at the Copa.
no.
I wouldn't have been shocked. Sitting
Pete
next to Joe DiMaggio and
Hottest spot North
Barry
Atlanta.
Manilow. Definitely in your wheelhouse, I would imagine.
Some.
Oh, by the way, Pete, I meant to tell you, I was in Midtown yesterday. 30 Rock. Daryl Hall is going to play with Elvis Costello.
I like Elvis Costello.
At Radio City?
Radio City.
That's a show.
Can we see Elvis Costello instead of Daryl Hall?
Well, you're getting Hall. I know you're more of an Oates person, but would you take Hall?
Oates and Elvis Costello. That would be great.
I got to be honest. What does Elvis Costello need Daryl Hall? I feel like
No.
I feel like
It's like a special
that's a good
mashup.
job for Daryl Hall.
He doesn't need anybody up there with him.
Yeah, Elvis Costello is like Elvis Costello. Why is he performing with Hall? Hall and Costello?
Hall was first on the marquee.
Yeah.
Hall bought his way into that one.
Yeah. There's another concert going down the
He
street.
bribed somebody?
Definitely.
It's definitely.
Is it the IOC behind
I
him?
was going to say, is it like Bieber performing at someone's wedding for
Yeah.
$10 million?
No, there's no chance in the world that Elvis Costello asked Daryl Hall, "Hey, come perform with me."
What do you think? He's crashing it? He's on the marquee.
It was definitely suggested by Hall. Oates wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no.
Oates would never.
Hall definitely broached this topic. Hey, Elvis, what are you doing in July?
The disdain with which you say Hall is every time.
Did you hear about the other tour down the street? Oates and the News from Huey Lewis and the News doing a concert.
Not
Oates and the
Huey Lewis?
News.
Oh, come on.
Are they outside Radio City? Guitar cases
busking.
They're in
open.
the subway busking, exactly.
All these people wanted to go see the MLB shop. That's why they were all in the same area.
God, that is a sad situation up there.
Last thing.
You want to go someplace, the one place in New York City where there's no people, go to the MLB shop.
Oh, yes.
It's nice and empty in there.
You know what, though? You could shop peacefully. I went there once. I shopped peacefully. No problems whatsoever.
The NHL shop is pretty sick, though. You guys ever been in there?
Yeah, no one's in that store either.
Really? Oh, I feel like if I could spend money, like the NHL jerseys are so cool, though. Okay. Anyway,
MLB store is great, but it is not full of customers.
People don't go to that.
That's clear.
I mean, how many
Who comes to New York
Padres
and
alternate jerseys do you
don't
need?
need
Yeah,
anything.
it's like, yeah, I'm here in New
Anyone
York City. Let me pick up a Guardians jersey. Is it
you
being
never know.
displayed prominently in the window?
I think that'd be cool to go to the Major League Baseball sponsored store. That sounds
Yeah.
like a neat experience. I didn't even know it existed, but I'm definitely going to put that on my list.
It's and next to our old office.
It's in Midtown?
It's a SI.
Yeah.
Right.
Our old SI building.
That's where the NHL store is too, right? Yeah.
No, an NHL store used to be there. Now it's closer to Penn Station.
I want to pick
Does
up
the NFL have a store?
No.
Should.
NBA store has one on Fifth Avenue still.
The
but
NFL
hockey
has a
one
store.
moved.
It's called America. They get you everywhere.
There's another store to get this stuff. It's called the Internet.
Yeah, it's called Amazon.
Hey, I want to pick up a Ryan Friel jersey from
You
the
can't.
shop. I can't do it on the internet. I just want to go shop around. Everyone wants to do that.
But can you get a Costello and Hall T-shirt, concert T-shirt?
Well, I don't want it. I'll sell it.
By the way, the chat not happy that you're more of an Oates guy. They love Daryl Hall. They don't understand what's funny about Daryl Hall, and they think Daryl Hall is great. Okay, gosh,
Who
look
said
at the time.
that?
Hall.
It's a bunch of Halls in the chat. We never got to Arch Manning. We'll do that next. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
Lost in the fog. Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog. Golf. Bogusch can't see his way. People out his voice in his ears. Every day, Tom.
Andrew Perloff's got a tale to tell. Thinks he's an Aussie, but you can never tell.
Every single day, a Maggie and Perloff show.
Oh, Maggie Gray on the radio waves, talking sports and scores and the games we crave. But when she's done with touchdowns and three-point shots, she dives into conspiracies and connects the dots. Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA, what will you dream of today? JFK was wasn't just a simple case. I got the scoop right here.
45 seconds
She's
remaining.
got a playbook full of suspects, from mob bosses to alien insects. Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hav, O-H to the O-V. I used to move snowflakes by the O-Z. I guess even back then you can call me CEO of the ROC. Hovey, fresh out the frying pan into the fire. I be the music biz #1 supplier flyer than a piece of paper bearing my name. Got the hottest chick in the game. Wearing my chain, that's right. Hub, O, not Doc. But similar to them letters, no one can do it better.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Okay, so I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but Arch Manning, who is currently the backup quarterback at Texas, obviously, famous nephew of Eli and Peyton, had not signed up yet to be in the new college football video game. So instead of just saying, all right, I'm agreeing to be a part of it, it was a whole commercial that came out with Eli, sort of, they're basically playing the video game together over headsets, and then Arch kind of reveals, I'm in the game, right? Which is the famous EA tagline. It's weird to me, Perloff. We know Arch has this famous last name. He's too famous to be a backup. and I know Quinn Ewers, who's the starter at Texas, is literally on the cover of the video game, but at the same time, no backup has their own commercials. I saw this yesterday. I'm like, Arch has got to play. At some point, doesn't he have to play? He's the most famous backup quarterback in college football.
Yeah, next year.
But this year, if he's famous enough this year, don't you think it's a little odd that he is so famous, and I know it's about his last name, that he's out here doing commercials and he's just going to sit the entire season behind Quinn Ewers? That sounds right to you?
No, but if for some reason it all kind of makes sense. I mean, who knows? Maybe Ewers will get hurt, but Arch is 19. Back in the day, that's how college football worked.
But that's not how it works today.
I understand, but for some reason, I can't explain it. It's not really logical. I understand Arch is I think it'd be awesome to be a Texas Longhorn. I think it'd be amazing to play for Steve Sarkisian. And if I was him, I would have stayed too. And obviously from the Texas standpoint, they had every reason to keep Ewers. He was good enough to get them to the Final Four last year.
Right.
He was the #1 overall recruit as well, just like Arch. He was a big-time prospect, first-round prospect. So it just works here. I can't explain why. I totally understand what you're saying.
Has this ever happened where the backup quarterback is more famous even than the starter, or just as?
I mean, Tua was super famous. When Tua was sitting behind Jalen Hurts, the college football fans knew that this powder cake was sitting right behind Jalen Hurts.
But Tua was football famous. Arch is crossover famous because of the last name.
Right, crossover famous to get a casual way, but in a football way, though, is I think the smart football move. I think most football people think, okay, you got to play Ewers, right? There's no one who's like, you got to play Arch.
No, I don't think so. But it's funny because Arch got a lot of questions about why he didn't transfer. When Ewers definitely came back, obviously, and he knew he was going to be sitting behind him, why not transfer? And he's got great answers for it. He's not in a rush. He wants to stick it out at Texas. He wants to play at Texas. It's everything. He's a dream, right? As far as a recruit, he's everything you'd want. But to be honest, I'm a little surprised, I guess is really where I'm going with this. I'm a little surprised that he would want to sit for a second year.
Yeah, which angle? So you're surprised that he didn't leave, or you're surprised that Texas isn't bumping him to the starting lineup? Which
both.
part?
I actually both. And I understand why Ewers gets the job as the incumbent, but I wonder if when they got Arch Manning, did Steve Sarkisian deep down think, all right, I've got him on the bench for one season, and then I've got to get Ewers, either he's going to go to the NFL or something like that, because I need to start Arch.
Okay, but right now, today, if you're Steve Sarkisian and you're going into camp soon, who are you starting?
Okay, I am starting Ewers, but can I tell you what I think's going to happen? I think Ewers has got to be on probably is he on a pretty short leash, if
How
you
can he
will?
be on a short leash? He's probably going to be the 19th pick in the draft.
I know, but this is odd that Arch is behind him. Usually that person is not looking over their shoulder. Is there any reason why Ewers might be looking over his shoulder?
It's not like Trevor Lawrence and Kelly Bryant. Ewers is super elite.
Okay, how about this? What if Ewers, and I'm not rooting for it, obviously, I'm knock on wood.
Yeah.
What if he ends up getting hurt or dinged up, misses a game, Arch comes in and plays great?
then yeah, it might be Arch. But
right, and he still might be a top pick in the draft.
what
and
if Arch gets
could-
hurt? I mean, if you're going to get Ewers hurt, might as well get Arch hurt.
Well, Ewers has an injury history, so it's a little easier to imagine.
Okay. I just think that's a big if. Hey, listen, I mean, Texas is loaded. They have new receivers this year, so that's a little weird. But they should be a top 10 team. They should definitely be in the playoff. I think if you're Sarkisian, you got to be safe. Like, Ewers is going to get you to the playoff. So why take the risk of going to Arch? From a football standpoint, you got to be conservative here, Maggie.
855-212-4227. Okay, so that's what's going on. We have our AFC West breakdown all throughout the show today. We have revealed another region in the Maggie and Perloff Sitcom Bracket. We are trying to get the greatest sitcom of all time. And coming up next, great debate.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
So much is going on this show today. I can barely keep everything straight and together. Welcome to the show. We're going to attempt to do this. It's Maggie and Perloff. Who says there's an off season? We've got a million things going on. We are previewing the AFC West throughout the show. We've already done the Kansas City Chiefs, and you got to call it now. Three-peat or no three-peat for the Kansas City Chiefs. You're welcome to weigh in on that. We are also doing our quest to find the greatest sitcom of all time. That's our sort of summer homework, Perloff. We created a bracket, 64 sitcoms. We revealed the second region today. It's called the Simpsons region. Yesterday was the Seinfeld region. And you can go to our Twitter handle, X handle, at Maggie and Pearl, where you can not only watch the show, but you can also vote on all of those matchups, and we'll reset them in just a little bit. But it's also Wednesday around here, and we adhere to a schedule on the Maggie and Perloff show, and Wednesday means the Great Debate.
The Great Debate Series.
All right, we take a break from TV shows and the AFC West to bring you the Great Debate, and this is loosely based on the news. And we had a big retirement announcement last week.
We did?
Yes. If you believe that John Cena is actually retiring, because very few wrestlers actually retire.
I was trying to figure out where this came from.
It was loosely based on John Cena.
So wait, a guy who's in Hollywood shooting, I think, 6 movies a year, is that John Cena's rate right now, is retiring from a sport that he left 10 years ago, and that's the hook?
This is the hook. We are asking and debating the greatest retirements of all time. So maybe the most impactful, the biggest mic drops, when you think of, wow, who really did it right? Who went out on top? Or who had a memorable retirement? That is what we are debating today on the Maggie and Perloff show. Would you like to start us off?
All right, I'll start off. I think Kobe Bryant dropping 60 in his final game. And now, listen, it took 50 shots, and a lot of it was foul shots towards the fourth quarter. I watched this game recently. It's just awesome because basketball is a sport where the end is not pretty because you have to be so athletic.
Yeah.
Like, it's different in baseball and football. Tom Brady was a quarterback, didn't have to move around a lot. Kobe dropped 60 and walked away. That is the most amazing thing. And it's so Kobe, too. Like, if there was ever a player who was going to do this, it wouldn't even be Jordan. It wouldn't be LeBron. It would be Kobe Bryant to say, listen, you might be pushing me out of this game because I'm too old, but I am going to make you remember me. And to me, that was the ultimate mic drop retirement, to actually do it on the court.
It was memorable. It was like the bright spot in what was a bad couple final years.
Yeah,
sort of irrelevant final years.
He kind of pulled a rabbit out of the hat with that last game. You're right. The end was not great.
No.
And good thing he didn't say, actually, if I was Kobe, I would be like, oh, I could still score 60. I'm coming back, baby.
No, thankfully. Didn't get that. Yeah, Kobe's final game, all the celebrities there. It was a hell of a retirement. If you're asking me the greatest retirement of all time, it's got to be John Elway.
Denver's first play after the missed field goal. Elway going deep, and he's got Rod Smith. And Smith's gone.
80-yard touchdown to Rod Smith. So that was the second Super Bowl win for John Elway. You can't go out better than this. Winning in 97 against the Packers and the 98 against the Falcons after losing 3 times in the Super Bowl, where no one questioned whether or not John Elway was a great quarterback. Clearly is one of the greatest of all time. But he would have been in that conversation with the Marinos and with Charles Barkley and with all the greatest players to never win. And then at the end of his career, boom, rips off not just 1, but 2 Super Bowls, MVP of the one against the Falcons. And not only that, Perloff, but I had kind of forgotten just how badly the Broncos had lost those 3 Super Bowls. I mean, just absolutely whitewash. And then to make up for it at the end of the career with the 2 championships, this unbelievable mic drop, and that's why it's the greatest retirement. That was the last game that he played outside of like the Pro Bowl or something.
You probably forgot because your Bills sort of topped the Broncos. They said, hold my beer, I'm going to show you how to lose Super Bowl.
Well, thank you for bringing that up.
But I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, thank you.
You can't do the last 2 years of Elway as your great retirement because he didn't retire.
I'm saying the last one. We just played the highlight. That was from the Falcons.
But then you just said the last. You were kind of playing that because beating the Falcons the last game. I mean, come on. That's like sort of.
Won't stand
that's
for
like
this Chris
kissing
Chandler
your sister.
slander.
That's like kissing your sister. Like going out beating the Packers. That was awesome. Beating the Falcons. Like, oh yeah. That was. We did that too.
Well, they did it, then they did it again. You know.
I feel like you're cheating a little bit by taking the 2-year run there.
Well, then I'll just say against the Falcons. The last game he played was the Super Bowl, and he was Super Bowl MVP. Yes.
No, that is pretty good.
And the Falcons were lucky to be there because the Vikings really should have been there.
They screwed that one up.
Yep.
A few times the Vikings should have been there, Pete.
Well, the Vikings and the Bills have a lot of things in common, unfortunately. So there you go. My greatest retirement ever is got to be John Elway. Pete, you're spinning a lot of plates back there, but who do you have for greatest retirement?
A lot of plates, about 4 of them for the air right now. But I'm going to go, not for the circumstances, but for the speech that was made. And it's a speech that's well-known and probably the most memorable retirement speech ever, Lou Gehrig.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
Oh, geez. How are we going to compete with that?
Well,
I mean, that is
the
epic.
most memorable speech ever.
Yeah.
Was that Lou Gehrig or Gary Cooper? That's he always.
From Pride of the Yankees?
Yeah.
That's true. I think that that's the standard in terms of retirements. Not for the circumstance, for the send-off.
Right. So this is kind of controversial because we're talking the greatest retirements. This is the saddest retirement, to Lou Gehrig for ALS. I mean, there's nothing. It's so devastating of a disease. Can you consider this a great retirement considering,
it's
it's an awful
and also
thing.
too, I think he had some baseball. I mean, he already owns a lot of records. Like, man, he could have done more. Yeah, that was sad, but it's definitely the greatest retirement speech. I mean, I don't even think you'd have to, if you were to do a great debate on best retirement speeches, you would have to take that one off the board.
Because it's so sad, though. But
it's also really brilliant, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think it's more than just sad. Like, he said he's the luckiest man alive. Like, oh, my God. To face that and to say you're lucky, makes me feel like kind of a schlub.
It took that.
Like, I complain about, traffic, and, this dude got ALS.
Non-stop.
He's like, I consider myself the luckiest man alive today. I'm like, oh.
Put a couple things in perspective.
Getting a little emotional here.
I think my Achilles might hurt tomorrow.
Yeah, is there even, I don't know if anyone else has, I don't remember Elway giving a great speech or Kobe giving a great speech. There probably have been, but that one's the all-timer.
All right. Well, good luck topping that one, Bogusch.
Yeah.
Our great debate today is the greatest retirements of all time. Go ahead.
Thanks, Pete.
You're welcome.
I use hockey for this segment like Pete uses Bruce Bochy. So here we are again on the ice with a gentleman who tried to win the Stanley Cup in one place, finally said it's not going to work here, moved on, and it worked there.
There's one player who's waited a long time to hoist this. Joe Sakic, come get the cup so he and the rest of your teammates can hoist it.
Joe Sakic will come out to receive it as captain. The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years,
Ray Bourque, 2 decades as a Boston Bruin legend. They lost 2 cups in Boston. Ass out after those 2 decades. Goes to Colorado. They don't win it the first year. Comes back for another. Has a great season. Not hanging on by any means. Wins the Stanley Cup. And that great moment. Great call by Gary Thorne. Joe Sakic immediately giving the cup to Bourque. And then 3 days later, he retires. Finally a Stanley Cup winner.
You said asked out.
He did. Politely.
No, it sounded like something else.
It sounded like ass out.
I was like, anyway.
I mean, that might have been the case when they were celebrating, but he asked.
I was like, you never know what happens with that cup.
Yeah.
That was an amazing one. And Gary Thorne's voice to hit that note is really unreal. Gary Thorne's got a couple unbelievable.
Yes. I think underrated for another debate.
At this point.
He's on some great calls, but doesn't always get mentioned right away in great play-by-play
Yeah,
guys.
you're right. He is.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. These are the greatest retirements of all time. Perloff going with Kobe, going out on 60. I'm going on John Elway, going out on his 2nd Super Bowl in a row. Pete is going with Lou Gehrig, his famous speech, and Bogusch hitting Ray Bourque.
Yeah. Pete's good. Did you do that over Magic's press conference? Like, we all
Magic came back though.
Yeah, well, regardless. So our point was those are not retirements that anybody wanted.
Right.
It wasn't great.
Yeah,
in
I
the
got
truest sense of the word.
I was ready to come in here and say Larry Zonka and Mike Adamle for a poll we were gonna do, but
that's gonna have to wait. We're gonna do that
you
for
think
a different one.
knows Mike Adamle, by the way?
I was like, Larry Zonka's retirement.
Larry Zonka, we know.
That's right.
Actually, that's what I thought. I'm like, well, Larry Zonka, man, I would like to hear that retirement
What
speech.
was it?
A lot of cursing in that one.
Larry Zonka, great personality.
Yes, we were going to do a different one, but we thought we've done a lot of TV show stuff with our sitcom bracket, so we'll hold off on that great debate of greatest cameos.
I got to be
another
honest.
day.
I'm going to be a little honest here. The only problem I have with this is the John Cena part. This is not a retirement. Those are retirements, everything we're talking about. You don't retire from pro wrestling. Name a pro wrestler who's ever retired. You retire when you actually die.
Well, I was actually, you're right. That's why it's loosely based on the idea that John Cena retired. I was thinking, yeah, even Ric Flair came back, but that was a great retirement the first time.
What?
When Shawn Michaels kicks Ric Flair and he apologizes to him and he goes, they're both crying. But Ric Flair came back a couple times.
Well, I just think that it's not about the great debate, too. I thought when John Cena announced his retirement, I thought it was overcovered a little bit. I just thought like they tried to make a huge deal about it. I'm like, this guy's hasn't been a full-time wrestler forever.
Right, he didn't retire already to be an actor?
Yeah, like that, Pete. Explain yourself.
No,
speak for your sports, air quotes.
What are you, PR for the WWE?
That's like The Rock retiring for the WWE. Yeah.
He doesn't, though. We just saw him at WrestleMania.
But he's not really.
I explained it yesterday. The whole thing behind it is to sell tickets and sell merchandise for the next year and a half.
To be honest, the only person who's hung up on this is you.
And
We
me a
all
little
get
bit.
it.
No, I'm bogus. Yeah.
All right, well, that's why you two should drive to San Antonio to
like halfway
complain about wrestling.
I've seen a lot of people being like, what is the WWE trying to sell here with the Cena retirement? That thing is out there.
No, it got people talking. That's what they do. They're a marketing machine, WWE.
Watch one of their pay-per-views. It's basically one long commercial for God knows what.
Exactly.
Let me ask you guys, put yourself in the shoes. If you were an elite athlete and you were retiring, would you do just walk away quietly, or would you do the year-long, like, get a present in every city?
Oh,
like
the Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter.
Yeah, Dr. J back in my youth did it.
Yeah.
Where he got, like, chairs and things.
You just get, like, a rocking chair and, like, a pair of cowboy boots and all the other silly things they give you.
I'm a definite no retirement tour guy.
You say that.
Oh, no way. First of all, nobody in our business, we're in sports media, nobody's ever voluntarily retired. It's never, ever happened.
You're so right.
Always showing the door.
You are retired. You don't retire.
Well, that's because this job is super great. That's why.
Yeah, we're talking sports. You know what you do
Super
the
fun.
day after you retire from talking sports? You talk sports.
Yeah, and everyone in your
Except no one's listening.
You start a podcast.
Everyone in your personal life is still asking you to talk about sports anyway. So
Yeah.
might as
There's
well try to get paid for
You
it.
don't retire from our industry, but if I could retire, I definitely I don't think it's something I would want to draw attention to. Like if I'm Wayne Gretzky or something.
I want to call BS on you so badly, but you don't like celebrate your birthday and stuff like that. You're not a big me guy on that kind of front, but
Oh God, attention's the worst.
great. It's awesome for the show.
Yeah.
Attention,
No, if I could hide.
Wait, didn't you just wear a McLovin jersey to a charity kickball event? Attention's the worst? Hey, guys, I got my ID badge on the back.
Your name's on the show.
Well, yeah, that part. But I am much more comfortable talking smack about other people, like people in sports.
Kids
Like,
in
that's why
baseball.
you're in Sports Talk Radio, so you can talk about other people. Like I'm a little uncomfortable. I think a lot of people are talking about themselves because then you open yourself up to all sorts of
I
criticism.
just get used to it. In the chat, Big Friendly. Hey, our pal Big Friendly. Reggie White with a retirement. I don't remember his. Winning
Was
with
it
the Packers for
a game?
sure.
He was a Panther at the end, wasn't he?
Was he a Panther at the end?
I think he did a couple years in Carolina.
All right. You can send us your greatest retirements of all time.
By the way, based on what you said, you would definitely do the retirement tour.
Hell yeah.
Oh, God.
I want to go to Milwaukee and Minnesota, and I want to get, well, not the
Yeah.
Ludafisk. Give me anything else. No Rocky Mountain
I'll be
Oysters.
there for that.
Let me ask you another
Been
question.
there, done it. Yeah, no
Would
thanks.
you ever be one of those people who wants a living funeral where you get to hear, to say, a year
No,
before you die?
that's
you
crazy.
Because a lot of people want to hear all the nice things about them because you can't hear anything after you're
But
dead.
that's not a thing. A living funeral is not a thing.
There are tributes late in life. Like, would you rather have, like, say you're 85, like a big convention where everybody's
big party, maybe,
where everyone says nice things about you? See, I would not want that either. That would be painful.
I would only want that to get people who I love in the same room together. That would be the reason to do that. But no, that seems a little odd.
Yeah, I just think this whole idea, like retirement, it's like all negative. Even Kobe's 60 points, there's something a little sad about it because it's the end.
You know, nowadays you're nobody unless there's a documentary about you.
Wow, that's a great point.
So you probably want to be there for that.
Yeah,
so
then
that
you
can
live
have
on forever.
you can have a say.
Yeah, when you get Jordan, you get to produce The Last Dance.
Yeah, right. You get to just drink tequila and tell everyone how they
You don't
suck.
even need a funeral. Just yeah. Talk crap about some guy on the Wizards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Who was that even? It was like
Lowell Hamilton. No, who was it? It was that poor guy.
I can't remember that guy's name. It said "Nice game, Mike."
Yeah.
And then it was his funeral the next game.
Yeah.
Whoever that dude was. Drunkle Sam's in the chat said Mike Schmidt. What was his retirement like, bro?
I think he retired mid-season, as I recall. I know he cried like crazy. Yeah. Oh, remember Favre used to cry? He had a lot of retirement speeches.
Too many retirements.
He was an expert. He should probably qualify for this because he did it 3 times or maybe 4.
Peyton Manning in the chat, according to Delta.
Oh, that was pretty good. He won the Super Bowl.
He did. I mean, he did. He definitely won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was
not at the peak of his powers because he was so hurt.
Right. That's the part. I thought that Jared Allen actually had a great one.
Oh,
he had a great announcement.
Yeah, he rode off on a horse.
Brady's was anticlimactic.
Well, because he came back.
Yeah, and even the second one was not much of anything.
No. All right, keep them coming, guys. Greatest retirements of all time. Of course, we also have our sitcom bracket, which we revealed the second region. We'll update you on that in just a moment. We also continue to preview the AFC West. Speaking of the Broncos, got a thought on them. So don't move. More Maggie and Perloff straight ahead.
You're in a 5-minute break.
On YouTube, tune in for some laughs with a beer in his hand and his feet on.
In the heart of the game, under the bright lights, EJ stood ready, aim.
Peter Parker's got a QB with a wild tale to tell. Speaks of pyramids and secrets where the old gods dwell. First it's just giants, ancient and grand, that come the aliens with plans for the land. Oh, Peter Bellani, hold on tight. Each game unveils a stranger sight, from ancient relics beneath the turf to cosmic plots that question Earth. Rodgers whispers of a league on the moon, hiding craters under a starlit monsoon. Claims of playbooks written in celestial script, decoded by seers in a cryptic crypt. Now it's not just aliens, it's time-traveling fans watching games that are part of the universe's plans. Interdimensional gates at the 50-yard line, where players and phantoms uniquely intertwine. Oh, Peter Bellani, what's next in the game? A halftime show with Bigfoot staking his claim. Quantum football that phase and shift, each play a puzzle, a dimensional rift, intertwined. Oh, Peter Bellani, what's next in the game? A halftime show with Bigfoot staking his claim. Quantum football shift, each play a puzzle, a dimensional rift, intertwine. Shiver Peter Bellotti in a world so surreal.
One show.
Future and secrets unveil.
One mission. Maggie and Perloff coming soon to a station near you.
Coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see, the Maggie and Perloff Symphony. Oh, pine needles are tuned in tight to Infinity Sports Radio every night. Maggie and Perloff, your daily delight. In their words, you find your life. From highlights to the breaking news.
He's getting the franchise tag on you.
Can't refuse. In the chat, he's always there with comments, questions, wisdom. He's on the chat, tuning in where it's at. Infinity Sports Radio, playing all morning. Dancing to the beat, feeling so right. The tapes are loud, his speakers blast. He's a Twitch viewer, having a blast. The ball of his spin and the crowd's going wild. Glorious man, just feeling so alive. Radio play. Can't hear the beat, it plays from afar. Glorious man. Glorious days, he's on the chat, tuning in where it's at. Infinity Sports Radio, playing all morning, dancing to the beat, feeling so right. Takes our line.
Stops in Detroit. That was a great one, winning the Super Bowl in his hometown. If you hadn't heard about that, it was a huge story for that. It was the story of that Super Bowl.
Yeah. How'd he do in that Super Bowl? I remember that was a low
Scored
scoring
a touchdown, right?
Heinz Ward throwing the ball is all I remember from that Super Bowl. Not one that was 22-10, not one of the great Super Bowls of all time, but yeah, that was pretty good. It was annoying, by the way. Everyone's like, Matthew Stafford and Clayton Kershaw played high school football together. Did you know Jerome Bettis was from Detroit? That's all anyone said that entire week of the Super Bowl. Drove me crazy. Anyway.
Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Sean's in Oregon. Sean, the greatest retirement of all time was who?
Hey, I got to put Cal Ripken Jr. up there.
Uh-huh.
And I got to put the NBA's leading scorer of all time, Kareem, when he retired. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
But how can we? Cal Ripken's famous moment was doing the streak. The retirement pales in comparison to that.
I think the retirement was like a huge tour. Dude, I remember when he did the retirement tour, that was a huge deal. And how much the fans just really showed appreciation all across the country to him.
And Sean,
that was great.
Kareem's retirement was a year-long thing, right? Season-long?
It was. It was a big tribute.
Yeah.
And Kareem's known as like the greatest basketball player of all time. Only LeBron has come out of high school with as much hype and lived up to what Kareem lived up to.
Yeah, amazing. Sean, thank you for that one. Kareem's a great one. Someone else in the chat, who's this? Jaden says Jason Kelsey's retirement speech brought him to tears. I don't know if it's the greatest of all time. I know people were pretty choked up about that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we were obsessed. Why is he wearing workout clothes? Is he coming back? Dude showed up sleeveless to his retirement speech. That's how you do it.
Delta says Cal Ripken hit a homer in his last All-Star game. I do remember that. I don't remember Cal Ripken's the retirement necessarily. I do remember the All-Star game where he goes out and didn't Alex Rodriguez move over or something?
Yes.
There was a famous moment where A-Rod tries to make it about himself. No, I'm just kidding. He did something nice for Cal Ripken. I think he moved over from short, right?
He let Ripken play
Play short,
shortstop.
right.
And then who grooved the pitch that Ripken hit the home run off of? I can't remember.
Someone gave him a meatball?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah. And then there was the Rivera All-Star game, Mariano Rivera, where he closed and everybody, like standing ovation coming in. And then they send like Jeter and Posada to take him out of the game his last Yankee game.
And he cried like a baby. I mean, he couldn't, he cried. I mean, it was a really touching moment. If maybe you're a Yankee hater, maybe not so much, but you got to respect Mariano. You know, the other crazy thing about Rivera, remember, it was supposed to be the retirement season, and then he was shagging balls in the outfield in like Kansas City and tore his ACL. And then it got postponed for a whole year.
Right.
Yeah.
Got that cool rocking chair of broken bats. That was cool. That might be the best retirement tour gift.
Of bats that people broke with him pitching, or that's the implication?
I think that was the story. I don't know how they were able to confirm that because you don't hoard those things for that long, but that was the idea.
Also kind of sharp.
That too.
Like Game of Thrones.
Look like a throne.
No, like
with
Game
all
of
the
Thrones.
swords.
Yeah, all the swords. Like, I think the king could get injured on that throne. This sounds very dangerous. You're right. Splinters? Those can get infected, Maggie. That's a terrible retirement.
Just ask if Clemens threw in a piazza. I mean, that was a projectile weapon. Okay, Bogusch has headlines for us.
He thought it was the ball.
Yeah, that's right. That old mistake. Everyone makes that mistake.
A little breaking news this morning from Wimbledon. Novak Djokovic getting a free pass into the semifinals because today's opponent,
Alex de Minaur,
has withdrawn from the event because of injury. He hurt his hip during the final points of the previous round, tried to recover, couldn't do it fast enough. So Djokovic, a walkover into the Final Four. The other men's quarterfinal today features American Taylor Fritz facing Italy's Lorenzo Massetti. And the Taylor's girlfriend, Morgan Riddle, has explained those deleted social media posts that we discussed yesterday. She says they were not a reference to any of Alex Zverev's domestic violence allegations in any way, even though I think that's really the only way you could have interpreted them because they were very, let's do this for the ladies.
Yeah.
So what else could they have meant? But that is her story post little drama from 2 days ago.
Yeah, not a fan still of this woman. Riddler? What's her name?
Riddle.
The Riddler? The Riddler. Bigger fan of the Riddler, quite frankly.
Let's get to baseball, where the finger is on the panic button in the Bronx.
The left-hander pitches. There's a long high drive to left. And this one gives him 50 batted in. 3 of them right away. All-star Isak Paredes with a 3-run homer. And the Rays take a 4-1 lead.
In the bottom of the first inning, they held on for a 5-3 victory, dropping the Yankees to 6-17 over their last 23 games, the worst record in the majors in that stretch. GM Brian Cashman, this is not a good sign, is on this road trip to get a closer look at his sinking ship.
It was a tidal wave of success here for the first 2 months, and then here as we closed out June, as we entered July, obviously we've hit a really rough patch for extended period of time. So ultimately, it all comes together with what our current record is, but we got to be playing better than we currently are right now.
To be fair, the Yankees are still 17 games over 500. Their 55 wins are the third most in the AL, and they're just 3 games behind the Orioles in the East. The Birds taking a 9-2 home loss from the Cubs last night. But this is the 3rd straight season with a great start and then a nosedive by these Yanks.
And it's always a funny move. If you follow the Yankees pretty closely, you know that this is one of the tricks in the Brian Cashman bag, which is when things are going poorly and then poorly and poorly, then he joins them on a road trip. It's like a classic. And you can see it in 2 ways. One, it's like, all right, he wants to show he's doing something, right? But it does absolutely nothing except probably make guys more nervous. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we suck so bad. The GM's here, essentially threatening to trade us all if we don't, get better. And then on the other hand, it just looks like total eyewash. Like, all right, it's like the scene in Spaceballs where like somebody do something, and they keep turning to each other until finally the guy picks up the phone and just yells into the megaphone, "Somebody do something." It's silly. But
Meanwhile, is that our boss Ryan watching from the window over Pete's shoulder?
What?
Somebody do something. Yeah.
I will say this though, back to our GM discussion from earlier, and that we could be GMs. If I was a GM, I'd be on every road trip. I would be at every game.
So-
I don't know why GMs aren't.
So there's two schools of thought here. There's actually been a lot written about this, not to make it boring and nerdy, but do you want your GM to actually have a little bit of arm's length from the team? You don't really want to, because you need to be able to trade guys even if they're popular,
Right.
or do what's best. And there's an idea that sometimes it's best to just be removed. If you're on every road trip and in the clubhouse all the time, you get too attached.
Moneyball. That was a
Yep.
theme. Brad Pitt couldn't talk to all the players because he was going to have to cut them at some point.
It was a Michael Lewis wrote about Daryl Morey
Oh,
in his other book.
oh, interesting. Yeah, I think that's if I was a smart GM, probably has to be super callous. So I think it's smart to stay away from the team. But Pete, you would get to know the guys?
No. I would travel to every game. I wouldn't travel with the team.
But why? You could just watch it on TV.
No, I would want to be in the ballpark.
I
get the feel.
I
wants
kind
the
of
per
agree.
diem.
I
He
just
wants
think
the
that,
free snacks.
No, I would travel too, just to be
The miles.
But I do also think, like, aren't you afraid? It depends on the model of the team. That the GM's there, he's going to have an undue influence on the coach, right? That's the fear.
Well, don't worry with the Yankees. It's not a fear. That's just the reality of how they run things. But the other part is you're the GM. I feel like sometimes you've got to be scouting college. You've got to be in the Dominican Republic. You've got to be in Japan. You've got to be, there's so many places you've also got to be.
I would go do that stuff too, but I would try to make most of these road trips. Separately from the team, though. I would have a luxury box. I'd sit in the luxury box.
Travel incognito in some kind of disguise.
Let's be serious. You are not taking the 10:30 out of JFK to Pittsburgh to follow the Mets. You're on the team flight. You're in the team hotel, banking those points, getting from the snack table.
I get a team flight.
Pre-game meal.
It'd be funny if Pete was actually in a disguise, though. Like you're disguised as someone who's like a reporter for the Milwaukee Sun Sentinel or
Undercover
something.
Undercover boss. It's Pilati.
It's undercover boss. I love it.
Here's good news for Maggie. There's only one Josh Allen in the NFL now. The one in Jacksonville has given up the fight, adding Hines to his last name. The stud pass rusher honoring his mother's side of the family with that. His sister, Maisha Hines Allen, plays in the WNBA.
I saw that. So Tony Khan is going to join us a little bit later on in the show, the co-owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we actually talk a little bit about Josh Allen. We will talk a little about Josh Allen.
Which one? His?
No, the Bills one. No. About getting a big deal done with Josh Allen. I'm sorry, Josh Hines Allen.
Reports out of Memphis yesterday said that John Morant now has full clearance for all basketball activities. Ja played just 9 games last season, missing the first 25 for that suspension, came back, played those 9, and then suffered a season-ending shoulder injury in January. Messi scored the second goal in last night's 2-0 win for Argentina over Canada at MetLife Stadium. Argentina now faces Uruguay or Colombia in Sunday's Copa America final. And the Minnesota Lynx with an 82-67 win over the Sparks, extending their win streak in L.A. to 7 games.
Havana. Here. Go ahead.
No, please. I'm done. Take it away.
No, it's fine.
No, keep going.
Fine.
Please.
Thank you, Bogusch.
Tell us more about terrible diseases.
Her name was Lola. Oh, stop. That's not nice.
Just because
I
when
had
we
a-
said greatest retirements of all time, Bellotti picked Lou Gehrig.
I had a point with my retirement.
No, you played the speech, and we all got goosebumps.
Yes.
It's an amazing speech. It brought a lot of, attention to ALS.
We got a funny tweet. The greatest has to be MJ. BC did it 3 times. From, yeah. Actually, it was true, right? He retired to play baseball. Was that a real retirement?
No, he was suspended.
Yeah, I mean, we all know what might have happened. Yeah. I think if you get more practice in retirement, like Favre and MJ, you become better at it.
Yeah, by the time he left the Wizards, nobody really
Sugar Ray
cared.
Leonard, I mean, he still might come back.
Boxers don't count.
Yeah. That's why wrestlers
Literally,
should count.
Mike Tyson may box.
If his ulcer lets him.
Yeah, right.
He's going to knock him out.
But you won't bet on it. Are you guys prepared for LeBron's retirement?
No, I
How many?
Tell me that when it happens afterwards.
There's no way LeBron just has one.
Oh, see, no, he's going to have one. It is going to be awful to deal with, though.
It's going to be like a ticker tape parade.
He's going to be carried into the arena.
Right.
Cleopatra style.
I saw a clip yesterday at the Olympic trials where Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron are all reunited. I don't know if they're all hugging. And I was like Carmelo and Dwayne Wade look like they've been retired for about 6 years. And like LeBron's still playing. I'm like, what are you doing out there, dude? Like,
Still good.
you can't you can't relate to those young guys. What are you doing out there?
You guys are nuts if you think LeBron's only retiring once. He's got at least
already
2
40.
in the bag.
He's 40,
So is
Maggie.
Brady, and you
Yes,
can retire
Brady
for
played-
30 days and come back.
Brady was a quarterback. He didn't have to cover the Portland Trailblazers 2-guard. This is not a
Well,
sport
no
where
one has to cover the Portland Trailblazers 2-guard. You don't know his
They can
name.
lay off that guy. I was like,
They don't have a 2-guard.
Right.
It ain't Clyde Drexler, so
That's
they're
it.
fine.
Shaden Sharp.
yeah, they got Scoot Henderson. I don't know.
I
It's not
think-
a sport where you. Well,
Okay.
Jordan came back. That was bad.
How about this? I will long-term show bet you.
Yes,
I
let's
was
get to
off
it.
the show bets for a while because I did that awful tuna jelly.
It's like 4 days. You guys are the.
What?
You have
My bet I can't even do because EJ tore his knee.
All right, thank
EJ will
God that
never
he tore
work.
his knee in a charity kickball tournament, not during your gassers.
Oh my God,
Oh, we
that's right.
all would have been in big trouble about that, especially considering our boss basically told us don't do
He's
it,
like,
and we were
yeah.
like, we're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Now we're definitely not doing it. That bet has been canceled.
What happens then? Come on, we built it up.
He'll do something else. Pete,
I get
he
to pick.
can't run gassers. He tore his patella
That's
in
fine.
2 places.
Dude, do you want to be responsible for
No.
a guy ripping up his knee?
That's fine. He shouldn't be stealing bases in kickball. That's
Well,
You're just going from an analytics standpoint, just like don't give up the act.
Yes, and in a charity kickball game, don't steal bases. That's my word to
And
the wise.
meanwhile, our buddy Dave Meredith was the only person in the entire tournament who got caught stealing. How you get caught stealing in a kickball game is an all-time base running error.
Because he probably announced it. He probably said, "Hey, I'm stealing a base, pal," and he got caught out.
Which brings me to Pete's retirement speech is going to be amazing when he just goes around the room and rips into everyone that's ever worked here with him.
I think it's going to be like that scene in Half Baked.
Yep.
Bleep you, bleep you, bleep you. You're cool.
That'll be
I'm
enough for
out.
me.
There's going to be no chance I have that opportunity to have any retirement.
No, they will cut the mic on you.
Yeah, by the way,
Uncle
you
Sam
have
says
young kids at home.
wheelchair gassers.
That's funny.
Just stand up,
Yeah.
EJ.
Wheelchair gas, that's pretty good.
It's going to be like Office Space when the guy's backing out of the driveway and boom. Be sitting with the thing.
Yeah, you can finally work on your board game. Jump to conclusions.
See?
By the way, you know who stole some bases in a kickball game? Maggie's husband was like, he was a 5-tool player. I was thinking about him. He, before the game,
Wait.
we were giving these, he tied a bandana around his head like Arnold Schwarzenegger about to fight the Predator in the last scene. That was the most intense kickball
I was
player
like,
I've ever seen.
are you going Roger Federer style? And he tied it. I was like, you look like the lamest crip ever because we had the red bandanas.
Instead of eye black, he cut himself and did blood on his chest.
Don't sleep on Andy
He
Bennett.
took out the shortstop on a double play like he was like Pete Rose.
He's like spikes up. My husband just all of a sudden turned into John Stockton, just the dirtiest player ever.
Yeah, he
All of a sudden, Chase Utley.
face painted for the kickball tournament.
Wait, hold on. I actually have to show you. Zach Gelb, there was like a photographer there who sent these just amazing photographs of my husband. These action shots. He looks like the greatest athlete of all time. Look at that. Okay, whatever.
Is there an EJ picture?
I mean, look at that. Doesn't really work on radio, and it also doesn't work because it's this tiny picture that's 9 feet away from me.
Oh yeah, there's a person.
Wow,
he looks great.
It was like, you already lost this. My husband looks like the greatest athlete of all time. You already were fighting an uphill battle.
Just think of Lou Ferrigno running the bases. Just think of that.
Oh. Okay,
That's the
so
picture.
Plus, he's playing kickball.
They also-
Can you look good with a huge red ball in your hand?
if it's possible to make that look cool, he did. There's also in the background is
No, he
definitely
didn't.
Marinick just standing there. We love you, Dave. So this all started with I'm willing to do a show bet here. I'm back on, and it's going to be a long-term one. I think LeBron has more than one retirement.
Okay, I'll take that for sure. Because
LeBron's
at a
retirement's
certain point,
over
he's
one
gonna-
and a half.
He's not, well, he's a 2-year deal. He's coming back at 43 to play basketball. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with Perloff.
I don't think he's gonna retire. I think
He's
what's
just
gonna
gonna
happen.
die eventually?
No, he's gonna wait for his grandkids.
87?
Hopefully he'll get a disease and give a speech.
No, stop. He's gonna wait for his grandkids to play so he could get them on the team
Like
too.
Bronny as a kid?
Right.
First
It'll be-
ever assist from a grandfather.
It'll be
gonna happen.
JJ Redick's grandkids going to be coaching him.
Yes. That's what's going to happen. He's not going to retire. so
Actually,
that's
isn't
the
there
under.
another Wagner coming into the NBA soon? Milton Juwan's
Yeah, Juwan's
son.
kid.
So I saw Milt Wagner, who is the grandfather, play at Temple, I believe.
Wow.
He's 47 years old. No, he's 61. Do you remember Milt Wagner? You guys probably all saw him. He was in the NBA till the 2000s.
Yeah, I remember, and Dijon, obviously, I remember.
Yeah. So anyway, it is possible, but I agree with. Yeah, there's no way you can't. At a certain point, your body can't play basketball, Maggie. It's never happened. Who's the oldest player? Vince Carter.
Honestly, Drunkle Sam's just killing. Goes, LeBron's golden retriever is going to be on the Lakers. Sign my dog.
This year.
855-212-4227. All right. Very good. Thank you, everybody. Coming up, we do have to get to our AFC West breakdown continues. Up next, the Broncos and the Raiders. Do that.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, the Simpsons region of the Sitcom Bracket is live. You can go vote right now. We'll update you on the poll results from yesterday. The Seinfeld region of the bracket was released, where it was a very, very close race, Perloff, between That 70s Show and Saved by the Bell. I mean, this is down to the wire stuff.
Two titans going out against each other.
Yeah, you throw out the record books when those two meet. So that was in the Seinfeld bracket yesterday. We've got the Simpsons bracket and region out today. Lots of heavy hitters in that bracket, including, obviously, The Simpsons, Big Bang Theory against Scrubs. You've got the Golden Girls here. You've got Family Guy. The Office is a 2 seed in this region, so you can go vote at Maggie and Pearl on X. And we are trying to pick the greatest sitcom of all time. All right, we are also breaking down the AFC West today, as we're taking one division per day up until training camp opens next week. And we talked about the Chiefs. The question, are they going to three-peat? And call it now at 855-212-4227. Can I also throw this one at you about the AFC West?
Sure.
I think this is going to be a division where it's very clear about the haves and the have-nots.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the have-nots are going to be worse than we think. And when I'm talking about the have-nots, I'm talking about the Broncos and the Raiders. And I think this is going to be rough seasons for these two teams. And I'll tell you why. First of all, with Denver. So it's a 3-way competition, I guess, right now at quarterback with Jarrett Stidham, Zach Wilson, maybe, and obviously Bo Nix, who they took in the first round. Now, I think Bo Nix is going to get this job. And because Bo Nix, because he's the high draft pick, he's an older QB. He has a lot of experience, but I'm having I think it doesn't mean the season is not going to be difficult for him in this difficult transition, because they don't have this great receiver core. They have a pretty good run game. Offensive line, not awesome. Like, these are not the great things that you want for a rookie quarterback. And I don't think there's a scheme in the world here for Sean Payton that's going to make this easier. So for me, I think this is going to be a really rough season for Denver. And on the defensive side, outside of Surtain, who else in the secondary is going to be stopping Mahomes and Herbert? I mean, you're in the AFC. If you don't have a good secondary, you're not cleaned up back there, things can get out of hand pretty fast. So I'm not very bullish on Denver. I think they're going to be picking in the top 10. I think it's going to be a bad season. And I think the Raiders are also going to be having a pretty bad season, because right now, Aiden O'Connell is going to be your starting quarterback. Gardner Minshew is like, in case of emergency, break glass.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a run-heavy offense. So what does that do with Devontae Adams sitting out there in no man's land? You have Max Crosby. You have Christian Wilkins. So maybe your defense gets after it. Where's Tyree Wilson? Like, where are these draft picks? And on top of that, I like Antonio Pierce. I thought, he clearly has the right attitude. The players want to play for him. He was the interim coach. They removed the interim tag. He's also dealing with these major legal issues behind the scenes with his wife, where apparently there might have been a possibility where his wages were getting garnished. Like, they had made some bad investment deals on 2 big car dealerships, and now they have debt in the $20 million range. So there's just a lot going on here. I don't know if that means anything about wins and losses. I'm just saying it's definitely a distraction. So for me in the AFC West, it's going to be the halves of the Chiefs and the Chargers, and I think it's going to be very clear that Denver and the Raiders are have-nots, and they're both going to be picking top 10.
That might be true. I'm going over on the win totals for both teams.
Wow. All right, you see it totally opposite.
Broncos have not total. I mean, the Broncos have the lowest win total. The second low. The Cardinals are the lowest, and the Broncos are kind of in that
lower
mix.
than the Panthers
and
the Patriots.
The win totals. Okay, I was just looking at it. I think they're at the bottom. It's the Panthers, the Cardinals, and the Broncos at 5.5. I think Sean Payton can scheme up 6 wins, Maggie. You don't think that? The difference with you and me is I think that Sean Payton can find a way to put something together. It's just like maybe I'm convinced, and the same thing for the Raiders. I think Antonio Pierce is going to have these guys playing so hard they're going to win some 12-9 games in Week 8 over a bad team. I just think these two coaches are too good to be that bad. So I don't think it's going to be like you're going to have 2-3 win teams, and then the Chiefs are 12-5, and the Chargers are 11-6. I just think these Sean Payton and Antonio, I just have too much faith in them. I really can't see, and I understand it. Like, they have no talent. You're absolutely right. They have zero. They're very.
The Raiders at least have Devontae Adams, Max Crosby. Like, you have a couple big headliner names, but your quarterback situation is a mess.
Yeah, I just think that Sean Payton. I mean, he won some games with the ghost of Russell Wilson last year. Remember, they got kind of hot. They were even in the playoff mix for a little bit. I just cannot see him letting this team be bad.
They also lost a game 70-20.
Yeah, but then it's interesting. Their defense just really improved dramatically over that. They finally figured it out after that game. So they lost 70. Was that the same team? The fact that they could let up 70 points in week 2 or 3.
Yeah, they went on a 5-game winning streak. I get it.
Really tough to me says like, okay, I thought there were some positives in that. Everything you said is spot on logic wise. I just have a little more faith in Sean Payton.
I'm lowering major expectations if there were any to begin with. I'm putting them even lower on both Denver and the Raiders. I just do not see these seasons going well.
I saw an interview with Devontae Adams yesterday on ESPN. I mean, that's legit. Like, they are into Antonio Pierce for what it's worth. I don't know if he's an X and O coach, but if player buy-in counts, and I don't know if it does,
right?
Then they have it.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, we're about to.
Yep, 855-212-4227. Hey, look who it is. Our pal Big Dave is in Kentucky. What's up, Dave?
Hey, good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
We're doing well. What's on your mind?
Good. Some great banter this morning. Hey, listen, did y'all happen to see the story about Ollie Gordon, the Oklahoma State University running back that got arrested for suspicion of DUI and Coach Gundy's comments and reaction to it at Media Days?
Yeah, so we did that in the first hour. I know, obviously, we're on for 4 hours. No one can listen to the whole thing.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
We almost led with it because it was such a big story. We should have gone back to it. We got caught up in sitcoms and other things. But no, Mike Gundy put his foot in his mouth. He looks like a fool. I mean, you're basically trying to explain away a young kid making a mistake, and he's owned up to that mistake. But by saying, hey, I've done it 1,000 times, I mean, it's classic Mike Gundy. I mean, just really boneheaded stuff.
Yeah, it is. I just read it. Sorry I missed the first part of the show.
That's
I was tied up this morning. Okay.
How dare you, Dave?
I don't want to make it a totally useless call, so let's segue to the worst franchise in the history of professional sports. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys.
What do they do now?
Well, the only thing about it is, sometimes, to be honest, you guys are the only sports show that I listen to and watch on YouTube.
How about that?
But sometimes, by accident, you stumble across some of these other nonsensical broadcasts, and I just happened to catch a couple this morning. Let me ask y'all a question. This whole thing's coming back to Dak. There was a sports analyst that made the comment this morning. They actually debated this for like 6 minutes. Okay? So if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl this year with Dak, he's getting $70 million. There's a greater chance that the other 31 teams in the NFL make it to the Super Bowl this year than the Dallas Cowboys. Am I wrong on this? Tell me it's not like...
Wait.
Maybe this is the season, Dave, where no one sees the Cowboys coming. Expectations super low.
Wait, they're not. I'm not trying to understand you, Dave. You're saying that there's not 31 teams who have a better chance than the Cowboys. The Panthers don't have a better chance.
I'm exaggerating that. Exaggerating that, McLovin. I'm just saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You're low on the Cowboys.
I wasn't sure.
We're flat out of time.
I wasn't sure you were exactly exaggerating because I actually thought you might believe that.
Let me lay some odds on you guys real quick. Let me lay some odds on you guys. Better chance, okay, that the Cowboys finish third in the NFC East or make it to the Super Bowl.
We're going to chew on that in the commercial break. Dave, you're the best. We do have a little Cowboys update for you, but we've got more on the AFC West in a minute.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Hey there, LeBron, you're moving kinda slow, but your golden retriever's ready for the show. In the Staples Center, the crowd goes wild when they see your puck dribble. Man, that dog's got style. Bark it up, shoot it up from the three-point line. LeBron's golden retriever making Lakers shine. Oh, LeBron's cheering, his hair's a silver hue, while his furry MVP does what he used to do. Now JJ Redick's on the sidelines, wine in hand, coaching up the pup in this basketball land. Pass and cut and fetch it too, he says. Who knew coaching a dog would be part of his days? LeBron sitting back, his legacy's all set, but his dog's just started. The best Laker yet. Through the legs, over tails, he jumps and spins. Even got his own sneaker deal, Air Paws that wins. Bark it up, shoot it up from the three-point line. LeBron's golden retriever making Lakers shine. Oh, LeBron's cheering, his hair's a silver hue, while his furry MVP does what he used to do. So, if you're LA, you might just see a golden retriever making basketball history. LeBron and JJ sipping wine, feeling fine, watching a four-legged star redefine the baseline. On the sidelines, wine in hand, coaching up the pup in this basketball land. Pass and cut and fetch it too, he says. Who knew coaching a dog would be part of his days? LeBron sitting back, his legacy's all set, but his dog's just started. The best Laker yet. Through the legs, over tails, and jumps and spins. Even got his own sneaker deal, Air Paws that wins. So if you head to LA, you might just see a golden retriever making basketball history. LeBron and JJ sipping wine, feeling fine, watching a four-legged star redefine the baseline.
One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
So much going on today. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. You had Big 12 Media Days yesterday where Mike Gundy, the Oklahoma State coach, really put his foot in his mouth, Perloff, talking about one of his star players who got arrested on suspicion of a DUI. I mean, this is not what you want for your media days when everyone's, I think, pretty excited about the Big 12. Quite frankly, they expanded to add Colorado, Utah, Arizona State. The Four Corners teams are there. Utah is the preseason media favorite to win that conference. K-State behind. You got Deion Sanders now in your conference, along with Shador. Could be a top pick in the draft next year. And it's been all about Mike Gundy and what he said, which was basically, yes, my player is got arrested for the suspicion of DUI, but I've done it 1,000 times where I've had too many beers and got behind the wheel. I mean, yikes.
It's so nakedly bad that it almost feels like you can't even criticize him because it feels like it's so obvious. Our job is, I think, sometimes to be critical of coaches when they say the wrong thing. But even a 5-year-old could tell this was the wrong thing. Like, it's so, is there any defense for this at all? Is there even anything to talk about here? He's an idiot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the other part that I found interesting about this, too, in the Mike Gundy defense was he said, the reason why they're not punishing Ollie Gordon at all. So Ollie Gordon won the Doak Walker Award last year as the best running back in the country. I mean, this is a Heisman candidate. Like, it's a big deal. But he stood out there and he sounded very mature and sort of owning up to his mistakes and calling it a terrible mistake. And thankfully, no one was hurt. Didn't want his teammates and coaches to have to answer for him. So from the player side of it, okay, let's wait and see. And maybe you give him the benefit of the doubt that he's just a young person who had a terrible moment. And thankfully, no one was hurt or killed. But it was funny. So he's not getting punished at all in terms of being suspended or anything like that, because Mike Gundy said, not only do I have to do what's best for Oklahoma State football, but he also said, these guys are professionals now. Like, because they're getting money for name, image, and likeness, that means somehow that they'd be above some kind of punishment. It's like, wait a minute, guys get in trouble in the NFL all the time for that kind of thing, and they definitely miss games and get suspended and things like that. So, maybe not just for a DUI, but, I mean, what do you think is going to happen to Rashee Rice? Like, he's going to get suspended. And no part of Mike Gundy's whole thing really made any kind of sense, but that's sort of par for the course for.
No, he did come back and try to apologize. And I think he said, my bigger point was people make mistakes and you give them a second chance.
Right. So say that. Not I get behind the wheel all the time.
His second addressing these things was much better. So I've at least the guy was honest. I don't know. The reality is, people do drink a couple beers and drive all the time.
I know that, but this isn't the moment to be like, and let's celebrate it. Like, that's not what we should be aiming for.
Also,
right?
I think a coach of young men should be very clear about what they expect responsibility-wise to be an adult,
Yeah, you're kind of saying, well, if the coach can do it, why can't I do it?
Yeah, it just sounds like, I don't think a coach can make excuses for this kind of situation. He's got to say, it's unacceptable. We will not accept it. I honestly think they maybe should have suspended him. I mean,
now I think maybe Mike Gundy should get suspended. How many times did he get behind the wheel? Oh, my gosh.
And I'm really rooting for Ollie Gordon. I think that I would love for him to sort of turn this into a positive. I'm about second chances. I think drunk driving, is a little underrated about how terrible it is. We saw those players who died last week because a drunk driver hit them. So
everything that happened
I want
in
everyone to take
Georgia?
it seriously. Like, that's a problem. Mike Gundy did not sound like he was taking what happened seriously enough.
No, instead he was saying, I've done it too. And I got lucky and he didn't. It's like, what are we doing here? So there's going to be more from Big 12 Media Days. Again, Deion Sanders going to be speaking today. I'm sure Shador as well. So you got a lot going on there. And I love that college football now is coming back into the fold, even though this was a negative headline. We love that college football is coming back in. So this is great. We are on a quest on this show. And the quest is to determine the greatest sitcom of all time. We love when we have a little room here to sort of spread our elbows out and make time for this kind of stuff. And me, Perloff, and EJ came up with a bracket of 64. Pete is already under protest. He didn't think we got it right.
Correct.
That's fine. You have your rogue bracket going, much like the Live Golf Tour, as Bogusch said. You started your own bracket.
Now, not to interrupt, I was asked when the bracket will be revealed. That will be after all the regions are revealed. We'll do that at another
Your Bilotti Invitational Tournament.
The bit will be revealed then.
Okay, so yesterday we gave you the Seinfeld region, and I'm going to read you some results from that. What is live right now, if you would like to go vote, is the Simpsons region. So that is what we revealed today. Simpsons region, tons of heavy hitters, including, obviously, the Simpsons, Big Bang Theory against Scrubs in an 8-9 matchup that's probably going to be pretty epic in terms of commercial appeal on both of those. You've got Martin in this bracket as a 5 seed. You've got the Golden Girls in this bracket as a 6 seed. You've got Family Guy as a 14 seed, everybody. And you have The Office as a 2 seed. There's just so much star power in this Simpsons region. So you can go to Maggie and Pearl on X, and that's where you can vote. Okay. Should we read some results from yesterday?
Hit us.
Okay, so here we go. In the Seinfeld region, it was the number 1 overall seed, or the number 1 seed in this region. Seinfeld, just whitewashing, living single, took about 94% to 6.
Surprised it was that close.
Honestly, do not send that to Queen Latifah. She is not going to like that.
I think Queen Latifah voted for Seinfeld.
So Seinfeld moves on. They will be facing in the next round the King of Queens, who takes out the Munsters 71-29. So we had a lot of lopsided results here.
That sounds so silly. The King of Queens takes out the Munsters.
Such is life in the sitcom bracket for Maggie and Perloff. Okay, moving on here, and this was the closest of all of the races, Pearl. It was the most controversial. It was Saved by the Bell as a 12 seed. So close, guys, but they go down swinging. That 70s show takes out Saved by the Bell 52-48. This was a very, very tight, but that 70s show moves on. Who will they be facing? Well, that's the 4 seed, the Brady Bunch, who wins over Sanford and Son. Bad job, America, on that one. Sanford and Son, definitely a better show.
That was a bad seating for Sanford and Son, I think.
Tough. Brady Bunch wins 53-47. It was funny. I don't know if it holds up.
I don't know. It was. I'm not sure. It's on a lot randomly. I don't know that I would love that show.
Okay, so that's the top at. Well, they're out. Brady Bunch moves on. They will face that 70 show in the next round. Okay, bottom half of the bracket here, and that is going to be 30 Rock, who moves on. They beat the Bernie Mac show 70% to 30%. They will face the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The 3 seed moves on 61% to 39%. Fresh Prince takes out the 14 seed Schitt's Creek. We continue, where How I Met Your Mother as the 7 seed moves on past Bewitched, 67-33. This one was not very close, and they will face the winner, and Pete will be happy about this, of the 2 seed who moves on. It's I Love Lucy toppling the Beverly Hillbillies.
Get lost.
Well, Beverly Hillbillies are gone.
Bye.
You're out. So it'll be I Love Lucy now taking on How I Met Your Mother in an epic 2-7 matchup.
I can give you 40 shows that are better than the Beverly Hillbillies that are not in the bracket.
Well, they are gone. So the lower seeds here, the 15 seed, the 16 seed, both get out and not very close.
One thing we learned, I think, so it was that 70 shows won 52-48 over Saved by the Bell. I think people like Saved by the Bell.
They
I think
did.
It's a popular show. I was never arguing that. I just don't think it's the same kind of show as these other shows because it was targeted for 10-year-olds. And it was on Saturday. It's not. It's a Saturday morning show. Those are different. And I think, honestly, like The Simpsons is a different show than a cartoon that's on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Like, we all know it just doesn't feel like nobody's comparing Saved by the Bell to Seinfeld. They're totally different audiences.
Yeah, but the conventions of what a sitcom is, they're actually probably more alike than not.
So you're going to put all those Disney shows into, they're not sitcoms, they're kid shows.
Nah, we actually probably could have put some of those Disney shows in there. We didn't do it. But
Because they're not good because they're targeted for 8-year-olds.
Well, I mean, there's a big cultural relevance also with Saved by the Bell. So it made it in, but it's out. It's out to a more conventional sitcom in that 70s show. So there you go. Now, that was yesterday's bracket. You get 24 hours to vote on these matchups. This is the Simpsons bracket, which is live now on Maggie and Pearl on X, where you have number 1 seed Simpsons going up against Murphy Brown. The 8-9 matchup, Big Bang against Scrubs. Number 5-seeded Martin against 12-seeded Different World. The Jeffersons is a 4-seed going up against WKRP in Cincinnati, the 13 seed. 6-seeded Golden Girls against 11-seeded Andy Griffith Show. Mary Tyler Moore against the 14-seeded Family Guy. That's the 3rd-seeded Mary Tyler Moore. 7-seed Family Ties up against the 10-seed Dick Van Dyke Show. And the second seed in this region, The Office, takes on the 15-seed Blackish.
Did we put Family Ties and Family Guy too close to each other? Anyone else getting those confused in their mind? Family Ties
too close
is
for comfort?
Is it
Alex P. Keaton and Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Alex P. Keaton had nothing in common with Peter Griffin in that show. Alex P. Keaton was like a young Republican type guy, right?
Yeah.
Like a teenager who wore a suit all the time.
He's more like Stewie, right? So I am noticing a trend. This is very obvious. Shows from the 50s and 60s are not faring so well in our bracket, which makes sense. I still think you got to give them a high seed because these were revolutionary, huge shows, but poor Dick Van Dyke doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke. Well, but it's going up against Family Ties. So it's all that's from the 80s.
Right, but Family Guy, just the recency bias. I think Mary Tyler Moore is a historic show. It's awesome. It had all these huge actors and giant impact, but it's been off the air for 57 years. So that's tough. So I'm saying vote for the old shows. Let's give some love to Andy Griffith. What did he ever do to anyone?
I didn't even know about that show. When I was a kid, he was Matlock.
I recently heard an interview with Ron Howard, who is the kid on Andy Griffith, and talking about what a huge show that was in its day. Like that was
Opie or something?
He was the kid, right?
Yeah.
That was like the It show in 1959 or something, which is pretty cool.
I think so. 855-212-4227. That's why they're in the bracket, Pearl.
Yeah, no, I know. We could have gone modern. We could have definitely kept those shows off, but I think giving history a nod was important here.
Absolutely. Listen, the sitcom's been around for a long time, time-honored tradition.
I would love to do an experiment. I'd love to see your reaction to WKRP in Cincinnati. Pete, do you know the show at all?
I love the show.
Yeah, it's a funny show.
Where did you watch it, Pete? Because you and I are the same age. Because I never caught WKRP. I didn't know that.
I think when I saw it, it was on Nick at Night.
Yeah.
Okay. It was on Nick at Night or syndication.
Nick at Night, but I couldn't.
I feel like it was you're in New York, like WOR. It was a big syndication show for a while. Then it sort of disappeared.
Right. Yeah.
I can easily see you not seeing it. I haven't seen it. It was basically a radio station in Cincinnati who was completely dysfunctional. So as a radio person, I think you would enjoy it.
Now I would appreciate it.
And radio was like God in 1975. So the two rock DJs were like the biggest celebrities in Cincinnati. Venus Flytrap and Johnny Danger. Johnny Fever. Okay. And then there was a salesman named Herb Tarlick who you would laugh at so much because he's basically every modern day radio salesperson.
and Venus Flytrap is the father in Sister Sister, Tim Reed.
Okay. Sister, I know. That was more in my wheelhouse when I was a kid. Okay, so you can go to @Maggie and Pearl. You can vote in the Simpsons region. Tomorrow we'll have a whole other set for you. And, just like the NCAA tournament, these things get whittled down really fast. So, we'll be in the Sweet 16 before we know it. So please go vote. Okay, coming up next, one of our absolute favorites, Tony Khan, who is the head honcho at AEW, also one of the owners of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's going to join us next. What did he have to say about the rumor that Shane McMahon, son of Vince McMahon, may be joining AEW? We'll get to that. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Hey there, LeBron. You're moving kinda slow, but your golden retrievers ready for the show in the Staples Center. The crowd goes wild when they see your pup dribble. Man, that dog's got style. Bark it up, shoot it up from the 3-point line. LeBron's golden retriever making Lakers shine. Oh, LeBron's cheering, his hair's a silver hue, while his furry MVP does what he used to do. JJ Redick's on the sidelines, wine in hand, coaching up the pup in this basketball land. Pass and cut and fetch it too. He says, who knew coaching a dog would be part of his days? LeBron's sitting back, his legacy's all set, but his dog's just started, the best Laker yet. Through the legs over tails, he jumps and spins, even got his own sneaker deal, AirPods that wins. Bark it up, shoot it up from the three-point line. LeBron's golden retriever, making Lakers shine. Old LeBron's cheering, his hair's a silver hue, while his furry MVP does what he used to do. So if you head to LA, you might just see a golden retriever making basketball history. LeBron and JJ sipping wine, feeling fine, watching a four-legged star redefine the baseline. So if you head to LA, you might just see a golden retriever making basketball history. LeBron and JJ sipping wine, feeling fine, watching a four-legged star redefine the baseline.
You love winning nights. We love when you're some things lights on. Some pace might tell they like around silly what from the braces can say. This is a follower here's a cold trapped in down his butcher's word was near the tree and ounces all of ice full his rest in the doing and scratching. This is all them silence one trading down his butcher's rim that should play with intrigue that was bustling cost that hell for insane to drain out. Yo, a UNO station, which is no item.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Excited because AEW All In London. We're getting closer and closer. That's August 25th, but Perloff, before that, you've got the Owen Hart Cup tournament. That's today. So excited. Tony Khan, who is the president, CEO, and general manager of AEW, also head of football at Fulham FC, also owner and football stats, as you put it, of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You wear so many hats, Tony. Thanks for making time for us. You know, here's the first question. You guys just came off of Forbidden Door, your pay-per-view event. How long do you, unpack that, give yourself, to enjoy that before you have to turn your attention to the next thing?
Well, we didn't even have a full week because we had to jump right into it. A few days later, we had our huge AEW Beach Break event, which was a huge success for us. It was the #1 rated show on television in all viewers 18 to 34, which is pretty cool because we're on TBS, which is a top cable channel, but we also beat all the networks on Wednesday night in young viewers, and we were the #1 show overall on cable. So it was really, really cool. And it was a great thing to come out of Forbidden Door and have a big episode of Wednesday Night Dynamite. And it really set up a huge episode tonight. Like you said, we have the Wednesday Night Dynamite Owen Hart Foundation Cup Finals tonight on TBS. It's going to be a great show.
Tony, we're building momentum towards All In August. I mean, I got to tell you, how you get Maggie and I to London next year. This year, I don't know if we could do it. I don't know if it will be next year, but it feels like it's going to be really exciting. What's it like over there for wrestling? Like, I know I've been in different parts of the world where wrestling is popular. Is it the same overseas as it is in America?
It's so popular. We set the world attendance record for all pro wrestling shows ever last year in London for this event, AEW All In. We sold 81,035 tickets. It was the record for sales, and we're going to go back this year. We've got a great advance, and it's going to be a huge show August 25th on pay-per-view at Wembley Stadium. And again, we're going to pack the stadium. We're going to have a great time. The fans are so loud, so passionate. There's a lot of chanting and singing. It feels a little bit more akin to a English football crowd, and it's a lot of fun.
Shane McMahon, there are some rumors out there that he could be interested in joining AEW. Would you say the interest would be mutual of having Vince McMahon's son join your outfit, or no?
Well, I think Shane McMahon is somebody that I've never met, but has a lot of experience in wrestling and has a lot of friends in AEW. And I have never really had any conversations with him or talked to him ever. I know that he ran into Mercedes Moné after Forbidden Door, which was very cool and kind of a cool coincidence. But yeah, I've never met him. I'd always be open to talk to him, and he's welcome to stop by anytime. You know, I know that's an interesting rumor. There's been all kinds of interesting people in wrestling to come into AEW and walk through that Forbidden Door. This might be, if it ever happened, one of the more shocking ones. But certainly, I even though I've never talked to him, he seems like a really nice guy.
We got a big announcement earlier this week last week that John Cena is going to be retiring in 2025. Would he be on your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, or is that a different four?
It's a great question. I think he'd definitely be somebody anybody would have to consider, certainly, especially of the modern era. For me, a lot of the people on my Mount Rushmore are probably people I grew up on, but they're also a lot of people I grew up not only being a fan of, but have gotten to work with later in life. You know, Sting, to me, is up there. And this past year, we had Sting's retirement in AEW. And the run Sting went on, I think it was unparalleled. And it's probably the greatest thing we've ever done in AEW for Sting to come in, wrestle here for 3 years, undefeated, teaming with Darby Allin, and for them to become the World Tag Team Champions and have the greatest retirement match in history versus the Young Bucks at Revolution. I thought it was an amazing thing. So Sting would certainly be up there for me. It's a lot of guys I grew up on my Mount Rushmore. I think like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Bret Hart and Steve Austin. I'd have to think about Ric Flair. A lot of great options for that. But John Cena is one of the best wrestlers and certainly one of the greatest of this modern era, without a doubt.
All right, Tony, who's the best actor of all the wrestlers, the best movie actor that you've ever seen?
What a great question. I think that's a fascinating question, and you threw me with that one, Drew. You know, when I grew up, They Live with Roddy Piper was probably one of the greatest performances by a wrestler. I think that would be a great choice. And there's other ones you'd have to consider, you know, Jesse Ventura in Predator and in Major League 2, the movie within a movie, as White Lightning. And then, you know, certainly I do think recently, you know, John Cena's been in so many great movies. I think you'd have to consider him. And also, frankly, maybe first and foremost, Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista has had this incredible career starring in the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. He's been in so many major films and major franchises. and also a lot of serious films and really become a top actor. So I think Dave Bautista you'd have to consider first and foremost.
Just a couple more for you, Tony, because obviously we're a sports talk show, so people are very familiar with you as one of the owners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, along with your dad, and you guys have had a lot of news lately. First and foremost, Trevor Lawrence and his wife are now expecting a child. They showed a gender reveal that it's going to be a girl. What do you get for Trevor Lawrence, your quarterback, as a baby gift?
What a great question. Well, you put me on the spot. We'll have to come up with a really, really great gift now. Would you have any suggestions, Maggie?
Well, you guys just gave him a big contract. So, I think that you kind of done your part. Maybe he owes you guys a little something in terms of a couple playoff wins. But you know what? Trevor is such an incredible quarterback. We obviously watched him in college. We know, and he's shown so many great flashes with you guys with the Jags. What I'm curious about from the back part of this, like from the front office part, of course, you guys were going to give him the big contract. You were going to pay him. He was the top draft pick for you. You're invested in him in the future. But in terms of when you give that contract, you could have waited a year. You probably could have waited a little longer. Was there any thought to delay the big contract longer, or take us through the thought process there?
No, I think it made a lot of sense. We all wanted to get this done with Trevor, commit to him. He's one of the top players in the NFL, not just one of the top young quarterbacks. We think Trevor can be one of the best quarterbacks in all of football, and he's been great for us. He's set passing records on the field, and he's also off the field a leader of the team. We all love Trevor here in Jacksonville, and I think for the fans and for everyone in Jacksonville, this was just fantastic to get Trevor's contract done, and we're really excited about it. He's a great leader for the team and the community. I think it's good to have it done because it was an impending financial milestone, and it involved somebody that is really not just the face of our team, but also the future of our team and the leader. And it makes a lot of sense. We also, for the leader of the entire franchise, have a great head coach in Doug Peterson, somebody everybody respects and believes in. And I love working with Doug. And I think with a great head coach and a brilliant play caller in mind like Doug, and to have somebody like Trevor Lawrence, who is one of the most talented young players in football, we're really fortunate to have these two and to have this team behind them. We were also really excited to extend Josh Allen's contract. He set the franchise record for sacks last year, and we've had a lot of great players, and we've had a lot of top tacklers and some of the leading sack artists in the NFL. And Josh Allen is now at the top of that list, and we were also really excited to commit to Josh and get that extension done because he's been absolutely fantastic for the Jaguars. And it's also great for the fans and the community to know these top players like Trevor Lawrence and Josh Allen are locked in for the Jaguars because we've just voted on and gotten the city's support for the stadium of the future. We're really, really excited about that.
Tony, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. You always make the time for us, and we're excited for you. You got, of course, tonight on TBS, all leading into AEW All In London, August 25th. It's going to be a fantastic event. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you, Maggie. It was great to be on with you today. I really appreciate you having me, and see you tonight on TBS at 8 p.m. for the Owen Hart Foundation Cup Finals.
Perloff, it's really interesting to talk about not just the wrestling side of this, but obviously for our purposes a little bit more the Jaguar side of it, and the idea that maybe they could have waited a little bit on Trevor Lawrence, but they decided not to with Jacksonville. And it's just like at some point, I don't know if it's not sustainable anymore, like how much these quarterbacks are making. I know the jury's out on how much that inhibits team building for the rest of the team, but I mean, these contracts are just bananas. I mean, Daniel Jones is taking up 20% of the Giants' cap. Like, that's crazy.
But explain to me why I don't feel like there's any controversy about Trevor Lawrence. Some people did rip it, but it feels like the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, forget the analytics, forget the stats, forget the win-loss. Like, this seemed like a very sensible This is a guy you pay.
Well, or just there was no way they weren't going to pay him. Right?
Exactly. This is a situation where the quarterback was absolutely going to get paid.
Yeah, because the Jags don't have a choice there. But again, they didn't have to do it right now. And he's getting paid at the top of the market. And even Trevor Lawrence would tell you he hasn't played like the best quarterback in the league. He hasn't played like the top 5 quarterback in the league. He's been okay. He got hurt last year, which is a bummer.
But you're going to pay anyone in the top 10, top of the market. That being said, if you're a Jags fan, you're happy that Trevor Lawrence is your quarterback, and he's your quarterback, so that's good.
Andrew Bogusch is here. He's got some headlines for us. Hey, Bogusch.
Hey, guys. So golf's last major of the year, the British Open, is almost upon us. At the last major, the U.S. Open last month, Rory McIlroy had a 2-shot lead on Sunday until bogeying 3 of his final 4 holes.
I think the way I've described Pinehurst on Sunday was like it was a great day until it wasn't.
And that was a great lead until it wasn't, because I can't read. Rory says he got over his latest major collapse fairly quickly.
It was a tough day. It was a tough few days after that, obviously. But I think as you get further away from it happening, you start to see the positives. You start to see all the good things that you did throughout the week.
Rory bearing his soul this morning ahead of the Scottish Open, which begins tomorrow.
I don't believe a word of it. I don't think you could be the most mentally tough person. I think this is, as an athlete, I don't think you get over something like that. I mean, he's got the funny line, it was a great day until it wasn't, fair, and get a chuckle. But I don't think you say, oh, I'm going to get the positives from that. It's like, no. Maybe he's mentally stronger than I might be. I think you have to just say, like, that was one of the worst professional days of my entire life, and there's no way around it.
He also said, I've been good at turning negatives into positives, except he hasn't won a major in a decade. And he's had chances to and didn't.
Well, he had an epic collapse, right? And then recovered from that to win another major. We're talking about the early aughts.
Well,
Right.
I mean, it's different than John Vandervelde, who was not an elite golfer. Like, Rory seems to always be hanging around the rim, to use Jerry Jones' terminology.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if it's easier for him to at least have another major and put this behind him. I think he wins another major. Like, if that's all he needs to do, then no one's going to put this on his lasting legacy.
I think it's harder because he has such a high profile, and it's like and the pressure just builds and builds and builds and builds.
So Norman won after his collapse at the Masters.
Yeah.
So, and people still remember the Masters collapse for sure. But I feel like, and Rory's a better golfer than Greg Norman even. I mean, he's way at the top. I think he puts this behind him. I believe him. Am I totally naive here? Like, I don't know. That accent got me too. It's such a, I think
Can you believe a guy with an accent?
if he's going to be hanging around the rim, like, listen, if you can be in the top 2, finish second place in every tournament, eventually the number 1 is going to miss a putt too, and you're going to find it. He's going to win again.
He's got to win. He's got to win a major. He's got to win a Masters. That's the one he still hasn't won. He hasn't. He's had chances to win that and didn't. That's
I think
if
he wins one more major, like, that puts this behind him. He might not win another one. It's been 10 years, but I think how old is Rory? 37, something like that.
Is he that old?
Oh, I don't know.
Not sure.
I mean, if it's been 10 years since he won a major, I'm just doing some math here.
But yeah, he was super young when he was winning those majors.
35.
Okay.
Still got some prime years left. What else we got, Bogusch?
The Cincinnati Reds, they already have
Ella de la Cruz.
And now there is Reese Hines.
Oh my goodness! Destroyed! That went beyond the K signs in the upper deck. Reese Hines makes baseball history. The first man ever to launch 5 extra base hits in his first 2 games, and there is no doubt.
John Sadak saying it all on Reds TV. It's 2 games, I believe 2 homers, 2 doubles, and a triple to get the 5 extra base hits over the 2. Last night, he was a single short of the cycle in a 12-6 decision over the Rockies.
Is that right? That's the best first 2 games ever?
In the quote-unquote modern era. They can go back as far as 1900 with certainty on these things, and no one's ever had 5 extra base hits over his first 2 games.
Put him in the All-Star game.
Put him in
Paul
home run
Skeens,
derby.
and then have him leading off.
You don't even remember his name anymore, do you? I don't. Reese Hoskins?
Yeah, Reese Hoskins. The Astros pushed their win streak to 7 at home. That is 4-3 over the Marlins. The Guardians scored twice, top 10 for a 9-8 win in Detroit. And Red Sox third baseman Rafael Devers drove in 3, scored twice in a 12-9 win over the A's after saying he is skipping next week's All-Star game with a sore shoulder. On a far more serious note, Rays shortstop Wander Franco has been formally charged now with sexual abuse and sexual exploitation against a minor in the Dominican Republic. The initial complaint in this case was filed last July. Franco remains on MLB administrative leave. Novak Djokovic advancing automatically to the Wimbledon semifinals because today's opponent, Alex de Minaur, withdrew with a hip injury suffered while winning in the previous round. Argentina, a 2-0 decision over Canada in Jersey last night to reach Sunday's Copa America final. Uruguay and Colombia play the other semi tonight. Messi scoring Argentina's second goal, his first of this event, but number 109 for his international career. And I'm going to put a bolo out for Peter Schwartz. He needs to confirm his whereabouts for this past Sunday because a card collector says roughly $2 million worth of cards stolen off his setup at a recent show in Dallas. He was distracted by one guy. The other person grabbed the cards. There is a $70,000 reward and surveillance footage of the alleged thieves. Unfortunately, neither of them look like Peter Schwartz, but it doesn't mean Peter wasn't the mastermind of the whole thing.
Wow, I didn't realize we had to watch out for Sticky Finger Schwartz. I didn't know that part of his personality, but this story is crazy. So yeah, as Bogusch said, $2 million worth of trading cards get stolen. And on one point in the article, they say this was a sophisticated, criminal act. And I'm like, wow, sophisticated. I'm thinking Ocean's 11. How do they get to the bank vault, in the middle of the Bellagio? The sophisticated, caper was one guy distracted one guy and the other guy came and grabbed the cards. I'm like, oh, you mean the oldest trick in the book? Yeah, I guess that was the sophisticated crime syndicate that took away the cards. But he had it's in his hand. It was able to just be held in his hands. It wasn't a whole briefcase.
Right. So how does he resell the cards? Because obviously the dealer is going to know what was missing.
Yeah, I don't know how you fence these things.
Doesn't stop people from stealing the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, but I watch all those movies. The hard part is to sell it or do something with it. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Basically, that dealer is going to be monitoring for the rookie Giannis card or whatever this is, right?
The Ken Griffey rookie card.
$2 million of cards, and it's a handful, Bogusch?
I mean, is there a black market where you can sell it on the sly? And
ask Peter Schwartz. I don't know.
Ask Gary V. Or I don't know.
To your Bonnie Macarena.
He was holding.
That's how he distracted him. He did the Macarena.
Hey, somebody's singing over there. Yoink. Yeah, the old distract him and then steal it when he's not looking. They could have pulled the fire alarm. I mean,
he just starts singing.
She's a lady. Oh, whoa, she's a lady.
And poof, cards are gone.
Right. Goodbye.
What happened? Yeah. Apparently this happens a lot. It also happened, I think, in a card show in Minnesota or something.
Yeah, note to dealers, have a second person, don't get distracted. What's going on here?
I know. Was it also hey, can you show me something in your car? What was the distraction? Anyway, that's what's going on in the card world. Crazy.
And still waiting on Peter.
I really could see Peter with a ring, some card ring.
What, meeting at his house in Long Island?
He's a mastermind behind it. I definitely can see it.
This is what I can see from Peter Schwartz, who occasionally does updates for us when Bogusch is out, including maybe tomorrow.
No, Chris Lopresti will be here tomorrow and Friday, as far as I know.
I can see Peter unknowingly walking up to a booth, right, at one of these conventions, and the cards are out, and he's like, "Oh, free cards." And just walking away with one. They're giving away cards here. Anyway.
I can see that too. I can see him spilling something on cards and ruining their value.
Yes, I could definitely see that.
Ranch dressing.
Yeah.
Bogusch, how was the concert last night?
The concert last night was very good. Last night, 2 minutes ago. No, it wasn't Tom Jones, Pete.
Asking.
At least come closer to this century.
Dua Lipa.
It wasn't Dua Lipa either.
That's terrible.
He wouldn't be here today if it was Dua Lipa.
So Tom Jones to Dua Lipa. That is the jump you can make musically?
Did you go Tom Jones because it was at Jones Beach?
Yeah.
No.
It's not named after Tom Jones.
I know. Tom
Yes.
Jones Beach.
It might be Tom Jones Beach.
But it should be.
It's actually Steve Snapper Jones Beach. Big basketball fans in
That would be
Wantagh.
good, too.
Great announcer. So how was it? I was surprised. That's a late night for our type of shift.
4 hours of sleep, Maggie. Took the late train today to give myself a full 4 hours to recover.
That's not bad.
You're holding up pretty well.
Thank you. Now, I got...
Was it worth it though? Because
Yes.
does Dave? You're obviously at the Dave Matthews
Shut
concert.
up.
Does he change up the set a lot?
Yes. We got all new tricks on this tour. A lot of things going on. We're starting one song and switching to another. There's a lot of creativity. We're doing a lot of segues. They're very creative right now.
Does he still do that dance where he looks like he has a back injury?
Do you also get mad at everything? How does that work?
No, I'm just asking a question.
I thought you were doing 2 jobs today. You had a lot of time to talk over there.
Mike's not broken.
I won.
Did you take the train because you were afraid if you drove you'd be too tired and you'd crash into someone?
He's been waiting. He's been waiting.
You always think that I plan these in advance. I had that for 15 seconds.
Gotta have a space between the cars.
Yeah, you have to have a space between.
All right, well played. Well played.
Does anyone know a third DMV
No,
song?
and they all sound the same. That's all too.
Any covers? What's the
but
covers?
Space between them. I mean, that's kind of a deep pull for a non-fan.
No, I don't mind
Pretty
them. I mind their fans.
Hey, Bogusch, what
We're the
covers?
only guy you like around here.
What covers did he do? What do you got?
There's a new cover on this tour. They're doing Let's Dance. They played that last night. That was fun.
David Bowie?
Yeah.
Oh God! Did you dance to that when he's singing Let's Dance?
Did I dance to anything?
Wait, you don't dance in a concert?
Like just shimmy. I don't stand there like a statue. I'm not like dancing.
Yeah, you do like the sort of like, okay, I'm making enough movement where I won't draw attention to myself, but I'm not dancing.
Wait, hold on. You go to all these Dave Matthews concerts and you don't dance?
But you don't like get in the
Can't
aisle and dance,
Yeah, you
right?
can't. How do you dance in a stadium seating?
You know, you stand up. You gotta boogie
Yeah, I mean,
a
I'm
little bit.
standing the whole time, but I'm not like dancing.
I
Now
don't
you go next weekend to Camden on the lawn, and people are like dancing.
Oh, I'm gonna be honest. I saw
Doing
Fish
the
at
hustle?
Jonesby, and people were definitely dancing.
Well, a lot
they
of
were
people-
also not on this planet.
Exactly.
When you move into the aisle to get more room to dance, that's dancing at a concert.
Yeah, and you
Like-
can't do that when you're sitting 5 or 6 seats into the aisle. Because there
Austin,
were people doing that.
Yeah.
But
is there
doing the
any
moonwalk.
sitting down at a Dave Matthews concert?
There's a couple of songs where people sit down. You can tell what people don't want to hear. Like any other concert, people sit down. People go, that's the P song, or go get a new beer song.
Yeah.
I'm going to play some of my new stuff. All right, I'm going to the bathroom.
Anyone want anything? I went to a concert once and everyone was sitting and it was very jarring. This was when I was still persona grata at the Garden, and I got to see Paul Simon and Sting together, which you would think
Yeah, I mean, half the audience could
just in a walker.
Yeah, what are you talking
No,
about?
it was great, and these are timeless songs, but everyone was sitting.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That is a
You're not gonna
skewing older concert.
Come on, diamonds on the soles of your shoes. You're not getting up.
I mean, I don't think I
Kodachrome.
I didn't stand the last time I saw Billy Joel. That's not a standing show either.
Hold on, Virginia. You're not standing.
I don't
Come out,
remember
Virginia.
standing.
What does he say?
Only the good die young.
Thank you. You're
Well,
not
I'll tell
dancing
you.
to Only the Good Die Young?
I don't remember.
What are you,
Listen, I'm
tapping
on my
your
feet
toe?
for 3 hours last night. I definitely did not stand for an entire Billy Joel
I think
show.
toward the end.
Maybe.
How about when I was at Governor's Ball, the concert, it's sort of a music fest
Yeah, you
outside
took
New
your
York?
kid, your dad of the year.
When Sexy Red was performing and everybody was twerking, I did not twerk, Maggie.
That's not what our spies told us.
Did you turn your back on the twerking?
I would throw out my hip, your hip, everyone's hip if I tried to twerk.
No, Perloff was like streaming Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final in the corner.
I would pay for surveillance tape of you at that concert.
Oh, it was so awkward. You have no idea. Even that, my wife's an amazing dancer. Even that, Sexy Red was very awkward. Twerking is not something for everybody. Have you ever twerked, Meg?
I tried.
It's a young woman's game. Don't get involved.
I was once a young woman, and twerking was cool even back then.
Hey, you show her a sexy kickball picture of her husband and look
Twerking
at
was
it.
not, when did twerking become a thing?
The first time I ever saw it was in New Orleans for the Super Bowl where the lights went out.
And that was
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this woman was doing it on the hood of her car.
Yeah. No.
That's
But
a lady.
When you were a teenager, there was no twerk.
Not when I was a teenager.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have to twerk. You're fine.
They were twerking at 87. Not that you were
Pilates
teen- not that you
twerking.
were
Now that'd
teen.
be an image.
Oh, no.
How about twerk off for the social?
Oh, yeah,
The
right.
four of us who could do it best.
No chance.
You can have your YouTube viewers.
I heard I heard there's executives in the building. This is probably the perfect time to do this in the hallway.
Yeah,
Twerk
right in
off.
front of their office.
Say it slowly,
Hey,
too.
market managers.
We got to get
Let's
Peter
see Pete
Schwartz back
Pilati.
involved.
I think I'd rather twerk than have Peter Schwartz do it.
All right, twerk off. It's happening. All right, coming up, we check in on our favorite quarterback.
You're in a 5-minute break.
It's raining men. Hallelujah. It's raining men.
Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Well, this is one of Aaron Rodgers' former teammates, Davante Adams, who was appearing on the Kay Adams show, Kay, who we love. And Kay asked a question to Davante about his former QB.
You two are boys, a lot of love for each other. You went to the Derby together. We see the pictures on the Instagram. Are you telling me he's not getting in your ear and saying, hey, I want to play with you again?
Oh, he's in that ear, that's for sure. he's in the ear, but it's not as easy as it. Obviously we can get together and talk about the old times and potential of doing this and that. But like I said, I'm a Raider, and he knows that. So.
All right, so that was Davante Adams on Kay Adams show talking about Aaron Rodgers, and yeah, I'm sure he is. I wonder if there's a moment though where Davante Adams, this can't be how he envisioned things when he wanted to get traded specifically to the Raiders. Like, he wanted to go there to play with Derek Carr, his college quarterback / friend, and the organization moved on from Carr within a year. So he's got to be wondering, what am I doing here with Aiden O'Connell? I wonder if this is surreal to him a little bit.
See, yeah, but it's funny thing is he feels awfully sticky to the Vegas. Like this, everything we're saying about him now could have been said last year, and he didn't seem to want to go anywhere last year. And he seems pretty content right now. I don't know why. The guy seems to love Vegas.
Well, maybe he's just being loyal to a team that paid him a lot of money, which I would understand it. But again, like, this is somebody who was on a Hall of Fame track and might still be on a Hall of Fame track.
Definitely a Hall of Famer, I think.
But it's kind of hard for wide receivers. You get these log jams of wide receivers, and I would think, I don't know if being with a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers on the Jets is necessarily the answer, but you have to be wondering, like, man, I haven't played in a meaningful game now in years because of the Raiders. Because of the Raiders situation, Well, there's a potential out after this year, by the way.
He's been there 2 years. I mean,
Right.
It's not. I don't know.
He's 32. Like, how many more years of being an elite wide receiver do you have?
But not to call you out on this specifically. Didn't you say all this last year? And
I did.
And they said, I'm fine. Don't trade me at the trade deadline.
I just wonder if he has to be thinking, like, well, I guess maybe he's not. I'm thinking for him. What is the end of this career going to look like? Because catching passes from Aiden O'Connell is not going to get you in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think the end really matters that much. They're going to, and you're right. I'm looking at the numbers now. He's not surefire at all, but it feels like he's a Hall of Famer. Like,
the wide receivers is hard, man. There's a lot of good wide receivers.
I think more will start to get in. There are a lot of guys in his era who are better than him. I mean, he probably had a 5-year span where he's top 3. That means a lot. I think he gets in.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be all quarterbacks probably.
2 years ago, by the way, he had 1,500 yards receiving. Remember, he was just a house on fire. You could throw within 5 yards of him. He was bringing it down. He's getting older. I don't even know. Like, the Jets already are. They brought in Mike Williams, who's actually younger than him and already injury prone. I don't know that that's a perfect fit. They already have Garrett Wilson. I guess so. It's fine. Like, the Jets.
I just want to see Davante Adams playing in meaningful games. I want to see Justin Jefferson playing in meaningful games. I love watching Jamar Chase when he was playing in playoff games. Like, this is what you want to see from wide receivers, right? Or you just want them for your fantasy team, you don't care?
Yeah, are you kidding me? I just want to see. Actually, it's funny. No, I don't really tie wide receivers to wins like that. Like, Justin Jefferson's still exhilarating, and I don't care if they win, right?
Okay, you can go to our X account at Maggie and Pearl, where the Simpsons region has been released. So we are trying to identify the greatest sitcom of all time. We gave you the Seinfeld bracket yesterday, and the voting is now closed on that. We're down to the round of, well, We're on to the second round of the Seinfeld bracket. And the Simpsons bracket is alive. So you can go there and vote now. The Simpsons as the number 1 seed. You got a lot of heavy hitters in this region. Big Bang Theory, Scrubs, Golden Girls, Family Guy, The Office.
Can someone go vote for the Mary Tyler Moore Show? Please.
You can vote with your burner account.
Just be nice.
Mary Tyler Moore going up against Family Guy. See an upset in the works. Pete Bellotti, what a rock star today. Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, thank you so much. The Weedos and the Coffee Drinkers, we'll see you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.